I'm sorry, okay. Uh, okay. So we're actually in the planning board work session right at the moment. And we're discussing the first item on the, well, second item on the agenda, which is the minutes for April 2nd and July 16th. In regards to the April 2nd minutes, has everyone had an opportunity to look at the minutes as presented? Council has sent her edits already. And you haven't had a chance to, take a quick look at them, please. After you look at those minutes, if you can look at the July 16th minutes to make sure that there aren't any edits that need to be made. You know, when you're. Let me know when you're. Yep. Is everyone comfortable with the minutes that's presented to both April? Okay. Let's move to the next item. I'm gonna ask Assistant Commissioner Herbert, you want to discuss the administrative item before us?
Sure. So we have two zoning amendments that have been referred from the city council. One is for well, the first one is about health clubs. So we discovered that just in the processing of daily applications, inquiries to the department, to the board, that despite the fact that we have a number of gyms and health clubs in the city of Mount Vernon, they are not permitted in any zoning district whatsoever. So everything is kind of like non-conforming. So since we have so many, and since there's interest in more moving into the city, we thought that we should fix that. We believe it was an oversight because there was already parking requirements for gyms and health clubs, even though it wasn't listed as a permitted use anywhere in the city. So we just figured we would add it to all non-residential districts. So as long as it's just not a residence only district, you could have a gym or a fitness center. And we went with the existing parking regulations that were already in the ordinance. And then the other one is about extending the amount of time before a land use board approval expires, just adding an extra 6 months. That's because we were seeing a lot of applications come back where they need an extension of time. And they were just off by just a couple of months. And given that we anticipate when the comprehensive plan is finished and we write a new zoning ordinance that we might receive a higher volume of applications. So just giving existing people with existing approvals an additional 6 months, we felt was just a good thing to do. And that's basically it. They're pretty minor.
And both of just wants our comments in terms of whether or not we agree with it.
Right. And both have already been referred to the county planning board and they provided their comments, which were no comments on either matter. So it's,
I mean, are they looking for comments, are they looking for comments today from us or? Will be time?
well, it's going to go, I would just do it as, if you're able to make the comments now, that's fine. If you want a few days more and you want to submit them in writing to us, it's fine also. Well, the hearing is tomorrow. I don't know if they're gonna close the hearing, so. Yeah, so maybe tomorrow, if you can send them by tomorrow.
I think it's pretty straightforward, so.
Yeah.
Let's review the gym piece one more time. What was your comment about the gym piece? I'm sorry, I missed something.
Sure, so the city already has a number of gyms, but none of them can get like certificates of tenancy or certificates of occupancy because gyms are not permitted in the city of Mount Vernon. There's nothing in the ordinance that says anything about them being permitted, even though for some reason there's a parking requirement for gyms. So we figured that maybe it was just an oversight many years ago. It just got left out or something. So we just wanted to add it as a permitted use in all non-residential districts.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
And then also, if since city council declared itself lead agency, just for us to say that we are comfortable with that.
Right.
So everyone's comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, the next on the agenda will be 3.3, which is 55 Bradley Avenue. Okay, so you want to go over the
Another extension of time. Let's put this right there.
Okay, we've actually been before us for a extension previously, so this is something that at the meeting we'll discuss to make sure that if we grant an extension, that they will be able to actually.
And once the ordinance is passed, give them another 6 months. They wouldn't have had to have been here. They could have waited 6 months. And 6 months from now.
So it'll be 18. Is that the new thing?
I'm sorry,
It's gonna go to 18 months? Like, instead of a year now, it's gonna be a year and a half. But
so, okay, so let's go back to that. 24 to 30 months.
That's correct.
for the extension. Currently, in terms of what you would be doing now, would be a 12-month extension. That would be before us. Isn't that accurate?
Oh, you know what? No, you're right. I had it confused. Let me open up the ordinance.
They're asking for a year.
Right, so it would extend it from 2 years to 30 months. Oh, so I'm sorry, this is after the issuance of a building permit. So land use board approvals, if you're issued a building permit and you aren't able to complete construction of your building within 2 years, you would have had to come back to the land use boards for the approval. Now this is gonna be 30 months, but that's from building, so it's not in between when you get your land use board approval and the building permit. It's once you have your building permit and you start building, if you're not finished within 2 years, now you'll have an extra 6 months, so you'll have 30 months.
Okay,
That's right.
thank you.
So does that mean that you don't?
No,
have-
what's before us is 12 months. What they're asking for is a 12-month extension.
Right,
So the district is right.
gotcha.
Right,
Okay.
right, because construction has not, as Commissioner White just stated, has not started.
Okay.
Let's see. 4.1, the 701 South Fulton Avenue. This is a new public hearing that's gonna be before us. So we're gonna hear from the design professional, Tom Adalama, who was the architect, to discuss this. Seems to be fairly straightforward.
Is this a 12,
Any question?
is this a 12 condos?
No,
No,
this is,
different.
this is down,
Five
at
Fulton?
the, yeah, this is in the industrial area.
Okay,
And they're looking for parking.
okay.
Over there. Right. And then the last item on the agenda will be the continuation of the public hearing for the subdivision that's being proposed at 55 Pondfield Parkway. And so we'll hear from the applicant, from you can.
I think this is gonna get out of the way. But I think we've got land use plan for it.
Okay. So you want to ask land use council?
I will.
Okay.
Excuse me, so, you mentioned, you mentioned the 55, the question is, the letter that was received from, council and was shared with the board, does that include this board going from voting to approve that application?
It does not preclude a vote. Essentially, what the board received were two letters, one from the applicant's attorney saying that this action is a type 2 action under SECRA, which means it's not subject to environmental review. And, you know, the public is bringing up a number of environmental concerns, you know, the rock outcroppings, traffic, all of that, and they're saying it's a type 2 action. So it looks like residents or other interested members of the public hired an attorney who responded and basically said the planning board was correct in classifying it as an unlisted action. And just as a quick, I guess, primer, there are 3 types of actions under SECRA. Type 1 are those actions that will likely have a significant adverse environmental impact, and that's where the full EF is required. Then at the bottom are type 2 actions where it's not likely to have a significant impact. So no SECRA is required. Everything in between is an unlisted action where you're entitled to do enough review until you feel you have enough information to make an informed decision regarding the environmental impacts. So the community's attorney said the planning board was correct. And upon review, I believe the planning board was also correct in classifying this as an unlisted action.
So where does the applicant's attorney have the standing to make the assertion that it's a type 2 action?
Well, there's,
Or if the board did not designate it?
Like-
Are they just saying that to us?
No.
I'm just trying to get the full picture, that's all.
there's a list of type 2 actions that the state has identified, and the law under the regulations under SECRA, it's 6 NYCRR 617.5C, paragraph 11. That was the provision cited, and that says, wish I had it in front of me, but basically 1, 2, or 3 family dwellings, the construction or expansion of a 1, 2, or 3 family dwelling on an approved lot is a type 2, not subject. And here, the subdivision, the lot is not yet approved. That's what we're doing here. So it looks like that provision does not apply. And there's another secret provision that's type 2.
One question.
Yes.
The 2 lots aren't approved, but the 1 lot is approved. So is that?
Well,
that way?
Well, this is not a site plan application for building on that one lot. It's a subdivision application that would create two lots. So that provision does not yet apply because we don't yet have the two lots. And then there was another provision that would be a type 2 granting, which was not brought up, but granting of individual setback and lot line variances and adjustments. So the question was whether this qualifies as a lot line adjustment. But again, guidance from the SECRA handbook says an adjustment is when you already have two existing lots and you're just moving where those lot lines are. So those would be the two main provisions that would make it a type 2. If it's not specifically identified as a type 2 action, it's not a type 2. So unlisted would be the proper classification.
But if it is that, this board designated it as an unlisted action. As such, is this board required to have the applicant go through a full environmental review?
They completed a full EAF form. They did
Not
that.
the EAF form, I'm talking about the environment of the site, not the thing.
Well, under SECRA, that will depend on how the board completes part 2 of the EAF. If you go through all the parts and the board finds that, there's a significant impact, then you would go into a deeper dive, the EIS, Environmental Impact Statement, which, also as part of the application, the city council did pass legislation authorizing, I think Labella is the independent consultant to provide independent studies if the planning board so desires. So I think that was passed in May. I don't know whether the contract was ever executed, but the council has given its authorization.
So then let me cut to the chase then, because there's gonna be two arguments here. One argument by communities council that you need to go through a full environmental impact study because this board deemed it as an unlisted action. That's what you're supposed to do. The applicant is going to say, based on the criteria, this is a type 2 action. Therefore, we don't have to do any other further environmental impact studies, then we should be able to move forward with the application. This is not a court of law here. So, I wouldn't want to waste the board's time necessarily in going back and forth with those legal arguments. So my question is, how can we handle that situation in light of these two opposing views that we have? That's why I raised the issue.
Well, I would say continue with your application as presented. Part of the applicant's attorney's argument was, part of the community's attorney's argument was that it's too late to complain that this was classified as unlisted instead of type 2. They said the 40-day clock started running. The statute of limitations has run on the ability to challenge the planning board's classification as a type 2. But as far as how to proceed, I think the board can go ahead, make its determination, look at the environmental, the scope of work that Labella identified and independent contractor identified as environmental issues to look at were bedrock removal, truck traffic, hazardous materials, stormwater, the consent decree, and the impact on Hunt's Woods. This is for the board to determine. Most of these items seem to be items that can be managed through conditions or other measures. But the bedrock removal is one that is just a subject of discussion. I don't know whether there's any way to tell what extent of drilling or blasting is necessary without actually starting. So,
Well,
you know.
and I may be partially speaking out of school here, but I don't know if this is what is equipped to fully opine on any of the things that you listed. Whether they need to be, done in a more fulsome or thorough manner or not. So, that to me is just an open question. I mean, I welcome other board members to opine here. But
I would say in terms of the bedrock, there's really no way of knowing ahead of time.
that's what else.
So I think that, having that discussion, with the applicant also to get a better understanding in terms of, what type of machinery would be there. Is there, obviously, there's gotta be something that's gonna be faster than something else, with the other one, that may be longer. In terms of vibrations, I'm sure, there are decibels, there's certain things that they have to adhere to by code. Whether or not, the houses that they're proposing would be maybe partially on that bedrock, and so maybe some of the bedrock that is of a concern may not actually be removed. But I think that some of those questions we have to ask the applicant to get a better understanding, of that as well. In regards to hazardous materials, things of that nature, have we received anything in terms of, what's been done? I know that they would have to go to the building department, for the whole, demolition in terms of, they had indicated, I think, a wet takedown before, in terms of whether or not there are any toxic materials, asbestos, lead, things of that nature currently in the home, whether or not that's already been abated. So I think that that's something that would have to be discussed, because if that's something that has in fact been done and there can be evidence, then I think that that's something that probably could be removed from the list of things that we've been discussing. Let's see. Stormwater, things of that nature, usually. Again, that would be something that the building department, DPW, would also kind of mandate that that would have to be retained on the property as well. And I think that in terms of the infrastructure, the city engineer, probably the DPW, would weigh in terms of, those hookups also. That's what I have down right now. Anybody else want to weigh in?
And I,
Yeah, someone?
yeah,
Okay.
can I just add, just as a final answer to Commissioner White's question as to how to proceed? These applications are balancing tests. That's why you're here. There's sometimes no hard and fast rule, but you have to balance the property owner's rights as a property owner to make improvements within the law and the public health, safety, and welfare. And, you just have to gather as much information as you need to make a sound decision.
And that's why I was asking the question in regards to, the hazardous, materials, things of that nature, because that falls under the, public health and safety. So wanting to ensure. So I guess, that is something I want to hear more about in terms of what's in the house also and what measures. Again, that's something that would have to go before the building department, as well. So if this were something, to move forward, some of these things, I think certainly would be conditioned to make sure that they're followed city, county, and state guidelines as well.
Yes, that's a good point. You can also add conditions, as you know, add conditions to, if you wish to approve, you can condition certain things.
I agree. So let me ask the question another way. The letter received from the attorney for the community, is there anything in that letter that requires this board to do something?
No, they were basically supporting and upholding the board's previous decision.
Yeah, I just wanted to be, I just wanted to be clear, I just wanted to be clear about, you know, about that. And then conversely, the applicant's letter, they are making an assertion with regard to type 2. But that is not what not the determination that the board made initially in becoming the lead agency under C. So I just want to be clear about those two things before this meeting starts, because I'm trying to avoid all the back and forth with regard to these two issues. And I think Chair Celsi has it right in asking follow-up questions that he has, you know, with regard to this matter. So I just want to take that issue completely off the table. I mean, the letter from the attorney is nice, but from my perspective, it doesn't mean a whole lot.
You would proceed as you normally would have.
Thank you for the clarification, and thank you, Commissioner White, for bringing that up. Commissioner Foley, was there anything else that you wanted to add to them?
Sure.
Commissioner Jenkins?
No, not at this time. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner White. Appreciate that.
Okay, so we will listen to the, no. Good question. Okay, how are we with time? 6:36. 6:36. Anything else administratively that we need to discuss, or we just go on?
Just the resolution for 6-8.
Thank you.
Mount Vernon.
Right. Did everyone have an opportunity to look at the draft resolution regarding 6-8? Mount Vernon Avenue?
I did, I don't have any.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
This is the
That was the one with the lift?
next to the glass.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Okay.
Good, okay, all right. I thought that the resolution was as presented was complete until changes.
Was there a contingency that they have security there at all times to move those cars up and down or around? Is that part of that?
They did indicate.
Okay, they did
that
indicate
is
that.
standard, right,
Okay.
right. All right, anything else?
Nothing further from me.
All right. Okay. Hi. Randy, Secretary. Everything has been noticed properly with all the applications before us today?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, did you say it would be a minute? So, you can say, okay, all right. Yep, okay. Do we have anyone, Commissioner Zamora on via Zoom? No, okay. All right. So good evening, everyone. And welcome to the September 9th Planning Board meeting. I'm going to do a little housekeeping. I'm sure everybody in the room probably has a cell phone, so I'm just going to ask that you put the cell phone on vibrate or silent during this. And if there's a need to have any discussion, and if it's going to be loud, please just step outside so that we can continue in here. There is going to be a 3-minute timer. Okay, and our land use secretary is going to institute the 3-minute timer for questions or. Okay, when it becomes time for the public to speak. If there is a designated spokesperson, we will allot additional time if you let us know ahead of time. But otherwise, it'll be a 3-minute per person.
Making sure it's being broadcast.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, so just give us 1 second. Don't want to continue if it's not. Well, okay, great. Let's see, one other thing, at times, things, can get contentious in a room. And there may be difference of opinions also. We just ask that everyone be respectful to one another. Everyone will have an opportunity to voice their concerns and their position. And we just ask that everyone do it in a respectful manner. If I need to, I will use the gavel just to kind of get order in the room, but I prefer not to. All right, so we are going to start. A regular meeting of the City Planning Board will be held on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. in the City Council chambers on the second floor of Mount Vernon City Hall. The Planning Board work session was held previously at 6 p.m. Applicants and members of the public will be permitted to attend and make public comments via in-person attendance and Zoom. Item number 1 is going to be the roll call. I'm going to start on my left-hand side. Brian Cholio,
Charles Lights.
Daryl Celsey.
Vivian Salmon.
Helene Jenga.
Please let the record reflect that we do have a quorum. Item number 2, approval of the minutes. I'm going to combine the two, April 2nd, 2025 and July 16th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 3, these are 2 administrative items. 3.1, referral from the City Council for proposed amendments to the code of the City of Mount Vernon, extending expiration of approvals from the city's land use boards. I'm going to ask for our Associate Commissioner, Lucas Herbert, to go over both of the proposed amendments. This and also referral from the City Council designating itself as lead agency for proposed zoning amendments regarding health clubs.
Okay, thank you. So the first zoning amendment is something that the Department of Planning and Community Development submitted to the City Council to consider. And this came after we discovered that gyms and health clubs were not permitted anywhere in the city of Mount Vernon, despite the fact that we have so many of them already. It kind of came to our attention when an applicant came, they wanted to renovate an existing gym space, and then we couldn't, the building department could not give them a certificate of tenancy because it's not permitted in the ordinance. So to remedy this, we suggested that health clubs and fitness centers be added as a principal permitted use in all of the non-residential districts throughout the city. And this also includes mixed use districts like MX1. So it's MX1, MDW-H, MDW-C, ND, OB, DB, CB, LI 7.5, LI 15, I, Industrial District, TOD1, and DTOD districts. So that's basically it. There had been historically in the ordinance, we did find that there was parking requirements for health clubs. We decided just to leave that as is. It may have just been an oversight that health clubs and gyms weren't listed as a permitted use in the ordinance, since the parking regulations were already there. So that's basically the summary of that. Chairman, do you want me to go over the other one at the same time? Okay, sure.
Thank you.
So the other amendment that the Department of Planning and Community Development proposed to the City Council was to extend the expiration of approvals from land use boards in situations where construction was not completed on a project. So let's say an application comes before any of the city's land use boards, it gets an approval, a building permit is issued after the fact. But then construction is not finished within 2 years of the issuing of that building permit. Under the current ordinance, their land use approvals would expire. Any, like, for example, a site plan approval that's issued by the planning board would expire, and they would have to come back and get an extension of that approval. What we're proposing is that they be given an extra 6 months, a 30-month period instead of a 24-month period. This would just allow a little extra time. One of the main reasons why is because we're just anticipating like a higher volume of land use board applications once the comprehensive plan is completed and new zoning is adopted. We think that there'll just be a higher volume. It would just be better just to give developers a little more time. And that's basically it.
Okay, thank you. So in regards to the referral regarding health clubs and the zoning amendments that would take place in MX1, MVWH, MVWC, NB, OB, DB, CB, LI 7.5, LI-15, I, TOD1, and DTOAD districts. The planning board is comfortable with those zoning amendments and have no objection to the city council being the lead agency. Okay? In regards to the referral, in regards to the extension of time from the 2 year to the 30 months, we also have no issue and support the change to the 30. Nothing else was needed on those, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so 3.3, case number PB 23 10. 55 Bradley Avenue, section 165.42, block 2160, lot 1 in the R1-7 Single Family Residence District. Okay, is the applicant here? Okay, the planning board has previously granted this application an extension of time request in its September 4th, 2024 meeting for the amended site plan approval for the independent living facility on the Wartburg campus. Okay, the extension of time request was granted. Now the applicant is returning to request a further extension of time for another year to successfully continue the project. The board should review the proposed addition extension of time and determine whether it can be approved. Good evening.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
That's okay.
Number 55, I'm here on another application. I'll
Okay.
get back to the air conditioner.
Gotcha.
Can't hear all that well anyway, so I stood up for the wrong application.
Okay, all right. Mr. This Wartburg time.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Later, here, Warburg, and with me is David Denton.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Additional 1 year extension. David. For the possibility of this that led to us to see additional. extension.
Thank you.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm David Gattner from the Wartburg. Live at 93 Marion Avenue here in Mount Vernon, right on the Wartburg campus. Fully intended to make this project a priority. This board did request, it wasn't a contingency, to look for other opportunities for affordable housing for seniors on the campus. And we were able to do that. And so, you know, we shifted and that became our priority. We were able to, in the past year, we just closed on it. So building up another 102 affordable housing units for seniors in our old nursing home. And we were able to really fast track the project in the past year. The residents who live there will be at between 30% of AMI and 80% of AMI. It's 102 units and 30 of those will be at the, won't exceed 30% of the AMI. We were able to get county flex funds for the project. And we won a 9% tax credit award. And the city of Mount Vernon, through the Urban Renewal Agency, provided home funding for the project. And we just closed. So again, fully intended for this North Lot project to be the priority over the past year. I just couldn't do it. So we need we're requesting respectfully one more year, same project. 225 units, 84 parking spaces. Unaware of any, environmental impact that would have changed at all. Same team, same architect.
Same plan, nothing.
Same plan.
Nothing is.
Same plan, yeah. I just, like I said, I only had so much time and we wanted to fast track the affordable building because we had an opportunity to, and it's a construction site now.
Well, one, I'd like to thank you for listening to what the board had to say, for actually doing that, because it's definitely is something that's needed within the city of Mount Vernon. And then my second question is in terms of if we grant the extension, where are you in terms of is financing close to being in place so that, it can be?
Yes, so the county LDC has issued a pre-financing resolution and set aside 2023 bonds for the project. Inducement resolution, that's what it's called. And that doesn't mean that we still don't have to work with the investment bankers on a pro forma, but the county did act through its LDC with an inducement resolution to finance the project.
Okay. And that was not the case prior. Is that correct?
That was in 23. They set bonds aside in 2023. So I haven't really, I don't have any new financing, new capital for the project.
Okay. Okay. And you're comfortable that if we were to grant the extension, that you would be able to obtain the building report,
Yes.
permit and start working on this?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Any other questions?
No, the financing was my big question.
Okay. That's it. Any additional questions?
Are you in conversation right now with the investment bankers at this time?
Yes, yes. We work with Sims and Ziegler. And Ziegler is probably the one that we're gonna name as the investment bank.
Do you see any challenges, foresee any challenges with them, or this is kind of comfortable with you?
We hope interest rates come down a little bit.
Okay.
It is going to be very expensive to get to probably in excess of $4 million to get through all of the architectural reviews and actually design development documents so that we can get a building permit. But I think I'm certain my team and the general contractor in particular.
So just to refresh my memory, is this a 1-bedroom facility? What type of facility is this for the senior?
225 units. Everything from sort of 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom den.
Okay,
No studios,
no student.
but and they'll always be like at least a 1-bedroom. So a little larger units. Mostly 1-bedroom and 1-bedroom den, not a lot of 2-bedrooms.
Not a lot to bed. How many stories? I'm sorry,
8 stories.
8 stories. I don't have any other questions.
What's the senior number again? What is it? Start at 55 age.
62. Yeah.
Not dated.
I'll almost be able to move in if we get the building permit.
Okay.
Before I go to the public, any questions from staff, council?
The only thing I would ask, just in terms of drafting the resolution, should the boards choose to approve, is a chronological list of events relating to the site from the date of the board's I guess, last extension to present. I'm just looking at what needs to go into the resolution. You've hit all the other points. If you can just provide a chronological list of what's occurred from then to.
Fair enough, yeah, understand.
All right, gonna turn it over to the public and see if there's anyone that has any questions in regards to this application. And is there anyone here that would like to speak in regards to the application before us right now? Gotcha, okay. So since the air conditioning is on, we're just gonna ask everyone to just to speak up a little bit more and probably speak a little closer to the microphone so that the public can hear what's going on. Okay. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak in regards to the application that is before us right now? Okay. Okay, all right. Okay. All right. So, being that, there's no one from the public that would like to speak, is there anyone? Nope, on Facebook Live, okay. No additional questions here? Okay, all right. So I will make a motion that we close the public hearing.
So move.
Now, second,
Second.
all right, we have a motion, a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that was unanimous, motion carries. I will make a motion that the council will work on drafting the resolution, get it in chronological order for us so that we can vote at the October meeting on the resolution. Okay, that's my motion. Is there a second to the motion then?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All signify by saying aye with an agreement. Aye. Okay, again, that was unanimous, motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, item number 4, this is a new public hearing. 4.1, case number PB 25 10. 701 South Fulton Avenue, section 169.48, block 4090, lot 1 in the industrial district. An affidavit of mailing was sent, and Land Use Secretary Maria Pace has signified that all posting has been done on all applications before us today. Let's see, the owner is Charles DiPolito of Future Healthcare Systems, Inc., and is represented by Mr. Tom Abalama, the lead design professional. The applicant is requesting a site plan approval to add 7 additional parking spaces and loading areas on a property featuring an existing 5,000 square foot industrial building, meeting the requirement of 5 parking spaces per 1,000 feet of building area and the required 1 loading zone. The subject property is 10,000 square feet, is located on South Fulton Avenue, and is located in the industrial zoning district. Secret determination, the proposed action appears to be a type 2 action based on 617.5 C9, construction or expansion of a primary or accessory appurtenant non-residential structure or facility involving less than 4,000 feet of gross floor area and not involving a change in zoning or a use variance, and consistent with local land use controls, but not radio communication or microwave transmission facilities. Good evening, Mr. Avalon. Oh, I'm sorry. Looking
Good
up.
evening, everyone.
Okay.
My name is Esther Martinez, associate with Thomas Avilamas, and Thomas Avilamas architect here as well. Before I started, I would like to correct a little bit the description in the minutes.
Okay.
We are adding 6 parking, no 7. So as you start saying, so the location is of the project is on the 3-way frontage known as 701 South Fulton Avenue. It's comprehended by 3 streets. All of them are considered 2-way streets. And as you expressed also is an industrial zone and surrounded by industrial as well and parking structures, and the lot size is 50 by 200, which is a total of 10,000 square feet. As of now, we have 5,000 square feet of construction, requiring 5 parking spaces and 1 loading dock. I would like to ask the owner to come up, speak.
Good evening, Mr. DiPolito.
Good evening. This is really the final part of the project for me to be able to get my certificate of occupancy. The construction's all been completed, building has been on site and inspected, fire has been on site and inspected, everything was done. And I had to appear before you fine folks for the parking component. Once hopefully it gets signed off, I could just obtain my certificate of occupancy for the parcel. So that's primarily why I'm here today.
Okay, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so I would like to speak a little bit more about this, because maybe some people from the public here, they don't know. So whenever we require a new certificate of occupancy and we are adding parking per the section Article 7, Section 26735B is requiring us to come before the site planning board. Before the planning board to present a site planning application to get it approved. So that's the reason why we're here tonight. As we expressed, so the site right now is 5,000 square feet built. So we are proposing 6 parking spaces. The zoning require spaces to be 8.5 by 18. What we are proposing parking spot at 9 feet by 18. Zoning require 1 space for loading. We are proposing 2 of them, 15 by 40 each of them. The site is also have right now assist 3 frontage, and each of them has a curb cut and gates, along with also fence surrounding the property. Tom, do you want to come up and talk a little bit?
Well, actually, really, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Avalano.
Right now, what we're trying to do, the existing building that we have has been approved. There's a permitted, and we're going for the city council. To get it approved from the, for the certificate of occupancy. So now, the next item that we are dealing with at the parking lot, that the building department decided to be able to require to go to the planning board to be able to approve the situation. We believe that everybody from the building department looked at the whole project. We got it approved by every items that we dealt with, from parking, loading, for drains on the lot, and then for the gates, there are existing ones, was the fences. We believe that everything, we try to get it approved. So please let us know if there's any questions, please.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna yes, I would like to show maybe to the public or some of you as we express. So this is our, oh, I don't want to be moved from the microphone. So right here. So this is our property here. This is what is built right now. So you will see also, this is what is built, and this is what we are proposing here as a site plan application. Here we have the 6 spaces, including a handicap, which will be signalized with signage appropriate, also with the aisle. And this is where we have the 2 loading areas. The main entrance we are proposing along East 8th and exiting along Miller Place. Some of you are here about this, so you can be familiar with what we are proposing.
So looking at the diagram also, I'm looking at the turning radius for passenger vehicle, for the box truck, and for the semi-trailer truck. And they're all comfortable in terms of the turning radius within the site.
We worked it out. We have the box here,
Mhm.
turning radius, and this one, which works along the loading area that we have in here. That works very well. Plus, now that we have the parking also coming in for loading trucks that come in straight into the lot.
Yeah, I would like to also say our site is 50 feet wide and we're using just 18 inches, leaving about 32 feet for circulation of the big trucks entering and exiting the property.
I have a quick question. When they're coming in, what street are they coming in and what street are they going out?
They're coming in from East Eighth
They're coming in from East Eight
and
and they're
then
going
coming
out
out
on Fulton.
Miller.
Miller.
Hills.
Okay,
Miller Hills.
okay, that's good. Only because I live up the street and Fulton is crazy.
Yeah, so
So
sort of.
Pepsi Cola's right there. Okay, thank you. Sorry for being selfish. I'm just-
We understand.
I know. Right.
Nobody wants traffic, right?
Okay, commissioners, any additional questions? For the applicant? Any additional questions? Okay. Staff, council, any questions for the
Yes,
applicant?
just a couple.
Okay.
Is the parking lot already built and we just need to make sure we have the
It's already built?
permits?
Yeah.
Okay. And is,
The building itself, the parking itself hasn't been done. So obviously, it's gonna be done.
The parking pavement and everything is not finished.
okay. All right. And is there drainage associated with this plan?
The drainage were already placed in 3 different areas. They are existing as of now. So we have one at the edge of the building and we have 2 inside of the empty area right now.
And,
The parking lot will be served by those 3
Yes,
areas.
and all stormwater is gonna be retained once that's done?
So that's existing already, because the lot itself has a problem. There's a lot already here.
Okay, so what is it exactly that you're doing with the parking? There's a lot. Are you,
Just the parking itself, because by code is we're required to go to the planning board.
no, what I'm saying is, are you just striping it? Is it already paved? It's,
Right, it's right.
you're just striping it?
Yeah.
You're just striping it?
Exactly.
Okay. Got it. Right.
Well, obviously, we're providing signing, the signs.
Yeah, no, that's great. I just really just wanted to know whether or not, because I wasn't clear whether or not, you know, it needed to be paved or anything like that, but it's just a matter of striping what's existing there because it's concrete already. Okay. I got that. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak in regards to this application? Okay, is there anyone on Facebook Live that has any questions? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to bring to your attention, we received 2 consent forms for this application. The first was from Joanne Dunn at 220 East 8th Street. And then the other was from Richard Gordon, 700 South Fulton Ave. And also, we had 2 city departments respond when asked for comment. The Department of Public Works and the Water Department each responded with no comments.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, all right. Anything further that you would like to, anything? All right.
I have a question. I'm sorry. I always have a question at the last minute.
Yeah, sure.
That's all right. But my question to the owner is, what type of company is this now? You have a parcel of what now? Huh?
No, that's fine.
Okay,
We're garbage.
okay.
And again, we purchased the building 5 years ago. We got the building permits, we renovated it, a lot of back and forth. They made us do a lot of different things, filtration for the vehicles, everything, and we did it. And every time we go to get the C of O, there's always one more step. So the last step was, again, listen, because you're addressing the parking, you need to get in front.
So parcel is garbage that you're moving, is that what?
No,
you're
no,
trying- what
no,
you-
just parking the trucks.
Just
park-
parking
that's-
trucks, they're
that's-
parcel trucks, then. Okay, okay, all right,
Okay,
okay.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, there is a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay,
More question, if I may, regarding lighting?
Oh, like,
Lighting.
so it exists, okay. We disclose it.
No, that's the public, okay.
Okay.
she's asking.
All right.
Thank you.
So we have closed the public hearing. I would like if the owner of the property make sure that the lighting is proper on the, okay? All right, appreciate that.
Good evening. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I would like to say one thing about the owner of the property, Mr. DiPolito, employs a lot of Mount Vernon residents and is a strong believer in second chance initiatives. So I would like to thank you because not everybody gives a lot of the residents in the city a second chance.
Wait.
So thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Take care. All right. Okay, so we have closed the public hearing, so what I would like, excuse me, 1 second, I'd like to make a motion that we ask for council to draft the resolution in the affirmative so that we can vote on it at the October meeting. Is there a second to the motion? Oh, geez, second. All right, okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, that's for me. If you're all right.
I'm sorry? I don't know.
You should check this.
Second.
Okay.
Excuse me, 1 second. Would you mind just checking, make sure that Commissioner Thompson is okay? You know, like, I think every now and then we'll turn it on for like a few minutes and turn it off, and so maybe we'll turn it off, yeah, for right now. Thank you. We're turning that off right now. It is being recorded. Okay, we'll double check that for you right now, okay?
It was on Facebook, yeah.
Can you check again just to make sure that it's still streaming? Just give us a moment and we'll.
Yeah, it's still streaming. Yep. See myself.
It is still streaming, you know, now. Okay, but we are gonna turn off the air. It may take a minute or so. It's not the city council meeting.
The city council board, so I think. No, thank.
Okay. Okay, moving to the next item on the agenda. This is a continuation of the public hearing. This is 4.2, case number PB 24 55 Pondfield Parkway, section 15971. Block 2253, lot 1 in the R1-7 Single Family Residence District. The owner is Mad Properties LLC and is represented by John Iannacito, AIA. The applicant is requesting a subdivision approval to subdivide the existing 20,000 square foot lot into 2 parcels of 10,000 square feet and demolish the existing residence. The applicant eventually plans to construct 2 new single-family residences on the newly divided lots, parcels 1 and parcel 2. The subject property is 20,000 square feet, is located on Pondfield Parkway off of Douglas Place and is located in the R1-7 Single Family Residence. I believe that we have the attorney for the applicant who is before us right now. So welcome. Just ask that you state your name for the record, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for putting us back on the agenda, for allowing us to speak this evening. My name is Mark Blanchard. With the Blanchard Law Group. I'm representing the applicant for this application. As you know, the application before you is for a subdivision, taking a 20,000 square foot lot, subdividing it into 2 equal 10,000 square foot lots, upon which then a single family home will be built on, is proposed to be built on each lot. We haven't been back here in a while, so I think prior to reopening the public hearing, I'd like to just take a few minutes to reset our discussion and just give a brief update as to where we are. I think that there have been a lot of comments submitted and comments made at the hearings that have served to distract from the issue before the board. What the ultimate project is looking to do, when you look at the EAF, the long form EAF, it states, what is the existing condition? 1 house. What will the condition be upon completion of construction? 2 houses. I'm reading through complaints that there is an issue with bedrock. There's bedrock on the site. I'd say there's bedrock from the Manhattan up to Putnam County. All of Westchester is built on bedrock. Your code has multiple sections. Your chapter 102, building construction, fire prevention, 25 pages. You've got connection to a sanitary sewer, stormwater drains, water mains. Article 5, excavation. You have an article in here in your code for blasting if that was necessary. I respectfully submit there is no justification for Labella to go out as a third-party consultant and do a study based on removal of bedrock and construction. Not a single house around in that neighborhood was asked to do that. My point in my letter that I had submitted back in June was that under other circumstances, the construction of a single family home is a type 2 action. I'm not asking you to change your determination. There's no reason to go into a discussion about statutes of limitations. In any other circumstance, the construction of a single family home is deemed by the implementing regulations under SECR to be a type 2 action requiring no further review. We're in front of you properly for a secret action on secret on a subdivision is an unlisted action. You're undertaking a proper secret review. When you undertake that review, you ask, what are the impacts? What are the mitigation? It's all proper. But I'm here to tell you that when you look at a zoning compliant lot, we're creating 2 zoning compliant lots, upon which 2 fully zoning compliant single family homes are being proposed. We don't need side yard variances, FAR variances, height variances. Zoning compliant lots, zoning compliant houses, Under other circumstances, if those lots were already subdivided and sold, even if they were sold to one owner, that owner could walk into the building department and pull a permit consecutively for lot 1 and lot 2. And it would be compliant with secret. They'd live by the building permit and they'd construct 2 single-family homes. I'm reading objections in the comments that have been submitted that we're going to change the character of the neighborhood. This is an R17 zone. Single-family housing is permitted. I'm asking to build a single-family house. By definition, by law, I am not changing the character of the neighborhood. I am not asking to put up an apartment building. I'm not asking to install a junkyard. I'm not asking to put in a motor vehicle use. I'm requesting to put in a single-family home in a single-family zoned neighborhood surrounded by other single-family homes. I'm not changing the character of the neighborhood. I may be removing open space that the neighbors have gotten used to seeing. I understand that. It's an oversized lot with a small house. Things are going to change. Nobody likes change. I understand where the objections are coming from. But I'm asking for something that would be considered as of right. Should the subdivision be approved and the lot divided into 2 lots? It is a single-family home proposed in a single-family neighborhood. I'm asking to do construction according to these sections in your code, to remove bedrock in accordance with the building permit, to set up silt fences, to employ best construction practices, to protect everybody. Forget about the brook behind the house, which is never going to be reached by any activity from us, or the wooded area behind the house, which is not going to be impacted by construction. I'm asking you for approval so that I may file for a building permit, so that I have inspections, so that I have review, so that the building department places conditions upon me. If I'm chipping rock, it'll be a certain time. It'll be certain restrictions. If I'm constructing something, if I'm constructing a house, I'll have restrictions, just like every other home did in that neighborhood that was being constructed. Months ago, one of the principals submitted a report to this board, or at least to the planning department, showing how the environmental agents, an environmental company conducted a test in the interior of the home and did not find the presence of asbestos, did not find the presence of toxic materials. But let's say they did. The presence of asbestos, the presence of a toxic material, guess what? Subject to your requirements already. I have to comply with the requirements of my demolition permit to handle all of that debris safely. It's not only a Mount Vernon regulation, it's a state law. There is no allegation, there's no danger of an asbestos contamination getting into open air and traveling and impacting neighbors. That's just been speculation. The comments are made. Their comment was made to put that out there. We dealt with it. We're showing this board that a potential hazardous situation would be mitigated in accordance with what's already on the books, the laws we already have to follow. When you talk about seeker, you talk about mitigation issues. Do you have a potential adverse impact? How are you going to deal with that? We submitted a report saying the house is not contaminated. It's an old house. We were expecting to see asbestos. We didn't. Pleasantly surprised. I see objections in the record saying we're going to tear down a historic house. In my line of work, that word historic has deep meaning. If this was a historic house, I would need all kinds of additional approval. I'd have to show a hardship in order to change the paint on the front, to change a shutter. That is not a designated historic house. It's an old house. It's been there for a while. It is not a historic structure. I do not need additional approvals to knock down a historic home in this instance. Again, we're looking to subdivide and have a net gain into a residential neighborhood of one single family home. That's what this project is. You talk about, I reviewed the Labella study. We have asked the planning department We disagree with the bedrock issue, with the sanitary sewer system. This is a city of 72,000 people. And we're looking to add 2 toilets? 2.5? 4 people maybe using the toilets during a day? 72,000 people, and you're being given comments saying the sanitary infrastructure can't handle new development. I respectfully submit, I think that's an exaggeration. I think an additional single-family home can be managed by your existing infrastructure. New Rochelle, Yonkers, Mount Vernon is no different. Peekskill, these cities need infrastructure upgrades. But in this instance, with adding a new single-family home, 2 more toilets, make it 3. We'll throw an extra one in there. 3 more toilets in the city of Mount Vernon sanitary sewer system is not going to break the system. I respectfully submit. So you have concerns about your objections are to the sanitary system. You're hearing objections regarding toxicity. You're hearing objections as it relates to a historic home. You're hearing objections as it relates to changing the character of a single-family neighborhood by adding a single-family house. I would respectfully submit that the applicant has demonstrated that these objections have been properly mitigated. That perhaps they are, and I understand where it's coming from, but perhaps the objections are a bit exaggerated. That we are showing, for example, our stormwater. How do we deal with stormwater? We have to show the building department. We have a stormwater management plan. We are obligated under not only SECRA, but New York State law to make sure that we mitigate our stormwater. We will show that the entire site the stormwater is mitigated. We are going to comply with your code. We are complying with your code on your bedrock mandates and your bedrock removal requirements. We are going to comply with your code on your stormwater issues. Hazardous materials, we submitted a report saying they're not present. If we find some, your code, your city's code already determines what we have to do. It doesn't say shut down and prevent construction. It gives you a methodical plan of how to deal with it. And the sanitary, last but not least, the sanitary was a repeated objection throughout this process. The sanitary sewer, we're looking at 2 to 3 toilets. That is not grounds for a $10,000 study from Labella. It's not grounds to deny this application. Okay. Now we have dueling letters from attorneys. Forget the letters. I submitted to this board making an example under other circumstances, the construction of a single-family home is a type 2 action requiring no further review. I'm not asking you to change your determination. I'm asking you to look at the application materials before you. I'm asking to remember, we don't often think of building code requirements when we're just simply doing site plan. But in these instances, a lot of what you are rightfully concerned about are conditions of building permit approval. I ask you to put a condition. If you so choose to adopt an approval resolution, put a condition in there that the building permit spells out the code requirements we need. Articulate the list if you wish. But we are already bound to requirements under the City of Mount Vernon Code and New York State law. A lot of these worries are captured in your city building department's review and inspection. We don't get a final CO if we've shirked these requirements. We don't continue construction if we have an inspector show up and see that our silt fences are down, or we're letting runoff flow into the brook, or we're damaging the woods behind us. That doesn't work. That's not how this works. We are already bound to follow the law. So we're asking you, at the end of the day, it's an unlisted action. Fine. I'd be a fool not to concede that. Of course, it's an unlisted action. But at the end of the day, what is the result of the action? The result of the action is the construction of a single-family home. I'm not denying the existing home is going to be demolished and replaced with a new construction, a new home. Yes, of course. But that's a wash. That's zero. We're talking about the addition of one new house. That's what this application is about. And that's what I just wanted to reset this discussion and bring us back into the discussion of what is the impact? The impact is a single-family house in a single-family residential neighborhood. Fully zoning compliant in all respects, no variance is requested. That's what we're asking for. Thank you for allowing, for sure, any comments, questions? I have the owners with me as well, so.
Perfect. I've got a couple of questions. And let's start with the hazardous materials in regards to the report that was submitted. That was submitted to the building department?
No, planning department. It was submitted to the planning department.
Was, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm corrected by one of the principals. So the hazardous materials, that was done early when we were going for the permit. So the hazardous material for the demolition permit, we've already shown the building department for the demolition permit that there are no hazardous materials within the building. I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay, so the building department does have that report because.
Yes,
that-
the building department, and they would incorporate that report into the conditions on the demolition permit.
Okay, next question,
We already had approval from the building department to demo the house, so we've met all the codes, we've met the cutoff with Con Edison, and they get disconnect goes from the property, so we have a permit is all, the building department has already recommended for permits. And it's been sitting there over a year,
okay.
so we met for demo purposes, we met 100% of the requirements.
Okay, all right. And then in terms of, because I don't think everybody understands what that involves when you're talking about the demo permit. That includes the report that you submitted to the building department in regards to hazardous materials? Okay.
That if it's okay, and there's also, you have to disconnect the electric from the house, and disconnect the gas from the house and the water from the house, it's already done.
That's all been done? Okay. Question in regards to the chipping of the rock. You may not be able to really talk in depth about it because you may not know how much would be involved. Is there something that you can, talk about in terms of the configuration, in terms of the houses? Will any house be in an area where the bedrock won't need to be impacted as much or removed as much?
Yes.
Okay.
And here. The architect did. So we try to locate where the garage is, basically where the garages are, because we can do a full foundation where the garages are. So where the garage here, so this house here to the left, it's basically gonna be almost in the same spot where the existing house is now, so less excavation, and the rock is towards the right. So the rock would be in this area, so there's a garage here, so it'd be less excavation, it's not going 8 feet down, so just be just for footings or be rock pinning. And so the house on the left also, we try to lay them out, we see the rock out happening, so it'll be less excavation.
Okay, but then question, because that house on the left would be replacing the one that's
Very close.
current, okay.
If you look at the current,
All right. So my question in terms of where the new house is in relationship to the other house, is it any closer to the woods or is it, no, the same? It's, okay, how much further away would you?
house, from the woods. New house, the setbacks are, I think, 30 plus. There. If you can tell, setback, this house here and this house, see how close this is?
We're increasing the distance away from.
Okay, that's, I'm just trying to understand.
This is.
Okay,
Maybe this might be an appropriate time to ask the question, but the planning department staff made a recommendation regarding reorienting one of the houses 90 degrees. On the proposed lot 2. Was that considered? Because I believe that alternative was going to lessen the blasting and chipping rock. I'll read it to you from what I have here. The department previously asked whether the applicant would consider the possibility of reorienting the design of the house 90 degrees on the proposed lot 2 to reduce tree removal and avoid the necessary removal and blasting of at least some of the rock ledges on the site. It would be possible to theoretically build between them without affecting them and still construct a residence of a similar size. That's
I think
the,
this is for that, and we didn't adjust it, but there's an option for it, to look at it.
okay, yeah, I'm just,
Absolutely.
planning department made the recommendation, so we should see if it possibly at work.
Okay. So you would be amenable in terms of looking at the possibility to lessen, because I think that some of the concern from the community at large, you know, was the bedrock in terms of what would be involved with the chipping away. And I'm sure that there must be different types of machinery, probably one that's probably larger that would probably.
Bring a large machine in there, and we meet the code, and need the rock chipping, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, so I could bring a smaller machine there. And go below this, we'll stay there for 3 or 4 months. You know, just how do I disturb, do you want to get lessen the burden, or do you want to prolong the burden? Yes.
And the larger machine you're talking about, that would meet the decibel requirement as well, everything would be, okay. Okay, let's see. Stormwater, everything would be, I mean, it's subdivision, but everything would be retained on the property.
Oh, it's my burden, so
Right.
all the stormwater has to be taken on the property, the dry well, the overflow, that's all compliance.
So. Right. I'm done for right now, and I'll start on my left. Okay. Mr. Thompson. That's okay.
You see the design, those designs in the houses?
We saw a preliminary design before.
One on the left. One on the right. This is one.
Right. Right. I mean,
Submit that electronically if the board doesn't have them already.
right, what I was gonna say was that, you know, if this, you know, application, you know, would be approved, then that would go to ARB.
Yes.
And then ARB would probably, you know, have some, you know, recommendations in terms of, you know, what they would like to see as well. Commissioner White's. Or
No further questions. Commissioner Highland, I would just ask that you share with the applicant the proposal from your write-up. I read it from the document that you prepared.
A document was previously submitted.
Well, I don't know if the applicant has it, so yeah, so if that's the first time the applicant is hearing it, I think it should have it.
Right, actually, no, not.
I mean, I can give it to you.
Well, I'll call Lucas tomorrow.
We'll figure that.
Figure it out.
Okay.
Commissioner, I'm gonna go in this order. Commissioner Salmon.
Yes, you have some questions. Hello.
Hi.
And I want you to calmly answer them, because you came through like very early.
What?
So please calmly answer the question if I can present that. The back area where they had the woods, there was a lot of conversation about the wooded area. You know what I'm talking about, where they had the animals that come through and there was some wooded areas back there with the lake. How will that be addressed? Or will you have to tap into that, or
No,
that will not be
We will
affected
not-
at all?
We're not gonna build, we're gonna see.
Near that.
Our property, we're not gonna go to the woods, we're gonna have silk fence protection.
Okay,
We could do a double layer of silk fence,
Okay.
and you run off.
If you wouldn't mind, can you explain that? Because I don't think everybody understands what that means.
During construction phase, we're gonna have the parking fenced in,
okay,
around the property, we have a black silk fence. That if there's any, you know, water, it filters the water, it's hanging in front of it, so you get clean water and that dirt will go into the woods.
okay.
So we're not impacting, we're not even building at least, we're about 20 feet away from it. From the
So the
property.
community will still have access if they need to, or
Well,
exactly,
they can have, they can't cross my
they
property.
can't cross the
No,
property, so.
they can't cross the
okay.
property, they can't, I'm sorry, but they.
No, I understand.
I'm sure probably people crossing the property now that I know about it.
I mean, it's an insurance issue.
No, I
Their
understand
infrastructure.
liability and insurance.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that. I was just wondering if there's a pathway or if there's something.
I don't know, I
created.
don't know if there is.
That's not a part of your
They came close to my.
Okay, great, no problem, you answered those questions, okay, and the homes that you just presented was one families, correct?
Single families. That's goes in similarity with the neighborhood, single family home. We're not proposing, we're not asking for a variance, we're not proposing 2 families, 3 families, 4 families. We're doing 2 single family homes. Which is code compliant with the neighborhood.
Okay.
That's what the zoning is in the area. Can't change that. Commissioner Zanga.
Just one quick question. In the picture, I see the black.
Okay,
That's exactly the area that you need. And then
Yes.
that's it.
that's it.
Okay.
Just, this is the lot, which is, that whole thing, which is 100 by 200. That's the only area we're affecting, not affecting no place else.
And within that area, you'll see it's 2 smaller footprints. So nothing's going outside, nothing's not encroaching into anything off of the property line. Outside of the property line. We're not encroaching into the woods.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council staff. Mr. Commissioner, questions before I turn it over to the public for comments?
I don't have any questions at this time.
Yeah, no, I don't have any.
Okay, all right. So, thank you. I'm gonna ask you not to go too far away because there may be some question. Okay, great. I am going to, would the attorney who was representing the community like to speak first? Okay. Thank you. And then afterwards, if there's anyone else who would like to speak, we're gonna give a 3-minute, but the attorney has longer time to speak than on this application.
Thank you. Hello again.
Hello.
Good evening.
We'll be back in November.
Just need you to state your name for the
Yeah,
record.
Mark Baumann. I am a neighbor. I'm also an attorney. Partner in Algard Berger and Vogel. We submitted the letter, which I hope you've had a chance to read, and I hope you will read. I have copies if you'd like, and I'd like to submit them, Mr. Chairman, for the record.
Thank you.
I'm confused. Mr. Blanchard took the position. I'll wait for you, Mr. Sampson. Mr. Blanchard made a great presentation, wrote a great letter. It's a type 2, it's a type 2, it's a type 2, and then he just said, everyone knows it's unlisted. So why does that matter? It matters because this board found that it was unlisted. And his application to overturn that determination is made too late. It's administrative law. Mr. Weitz, I know you didn't want to hear law. I'm sorry, I'm a lawyer, I can't help myself. This is an administrative agency, and the law goes out of its way to protect the determinations of administrative agencies. If you disagree with a final determination, and this was a final determination, you have 4 months to go to court. You don't come back 15 months later and say, oh, no, we've changed our minds. It's the neighborhood, they're making things up. We're not making things up. We had 100 signatures from concerned residents. There's a problem with the water. There's a problem with the sewage system. I'm sure you're aware. And for your benefit, Mr. Blanchard's benefit, you know, here's an article about the current investigation of the state and the county into the water problem with Laurel Creek, which implicates the consent decree from the United States government. So now what do we have? We have a determination that for the benefit of this board, for the credibility of this board, had to be appealed within 4 months. They did nothing. What did they do? They came to the meeting, they listened, they submitted terrible typo-ridden quote environmental assessment. The guy had never been to the property, didn't know what he was talking about. So they come back with a long form and they answer the questions they want to answer. Do they talk about water? No. Do they talk about rock? No. Why? Because they don't want to. and you saw through it. And we stood here, and Mr. Celsi, you said to them, when they objected, you said there's a process. The process is to hire an independent, unbiased consultant to study these issues. So it's not just a one-family house. It's not just a one-family house. It's tearing down one family and building two new family houses. And when they came to this committee for the first time, they didn't ask for a subdivision. They asked for a subdivision and permission to demolish. They brought SECRA into the process. We didn't. And what did you do? You listened and you made the proper determination. Council tonight told you, before Mr. Blanchard switched from type 2 to unlisted, say so that this is unlisted. And you did the right thing. So now, 15 months later, because they don't want to spend the money or because they're afraid of what the study's going to show, they want you to change your minds. After 15 months? Really? 3 different meetings of the city council. The first to approve Labella, and approving Labella was done because it would avoid an RFP. An RFP would be a request for proposal, which would have gone out to 3 different contractors. They'd still be in the process. So the city went out of its way and they went to the city council and said, we've dealt with Labella before, we can use them. So their request, the city council undertook to approve Labella. Then they came back. And nothing is new, by the way. They haven't learned anything, nothing is new, they haven't changed their mind. And they come to the city council to set up the escrow. And the city council approves it. And then this is the most unbelievable part of it. After Mr. Blanchard submits his letter, they go back to the city council and they say, oh, we want a different entity to set up the escrow. In other words, they agree to it. Not only do they agree to it by their action, by going to the city council, but their architect before this board said, well, we don't agree with it, but we'll do it. Well, I know we don't want to hear the law, but there's something called waiver. And waiver means you know you're right and you voluntarily, knowingly waive it. Well, they were here, they participated, and they were shot down. And now 15 months later, they come back. And all I can say is, are you kidding me? This is absurd. This is a travesty. Is it a type 2? Is it unlisted? It's unlisted type 2. They made an application based on, they're asking you to overturn your determination because it's a type 2, only on that basis. And then they come in and say it's a type 2. Oh, no, it's not a type 2, it's unlisted. You're right, it's SECRA. But which is it? It's an insult. It's an insult to the community. It's an insult to you. It's an insult to the city. They had their chance. Supreme Court in Westchester, it's put in Article 78. You made the right decision. Please, you owe it to yourselves, you owe it to the community, you owe it to the city. Stick by what you decide. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the community that would like to speak in regards to this application, please come and Ms. Pace over there is going to find everybody.
My name is Phil Geraci, Geraci. I've been a Mount Vernon homeowner for around 41 years. And I live around 500 feet from the property in question. And I have to say that having participated in this for months now, there's a certain amount of disrespect that I've found from the proponents of this project. I mean, Mr. Blanchard couldn't even spell your name right in his letter, Mr. Celsi. I just find that appalling. The environmental consultant couldn't even tell us the name of the street that this house, these 2 houses are going to be built on. That just says to me, they want to do what they want to do, and they don't care what you think, and they don't care what we think. Now, I mean, in Mr. Blanchard's letter, he doesn't even name his client. He says the owner, and then he defines it as capital O, owner. Who is it? So I know the planning board asked that as part of the whole process with the escrow, that the incorporation agreement or the operating agreement of this entity that wants to do this project be submitted. So, and I want to hand this up to you. I know it was submitted electronically, but Mr. Blanchard has taken a corporation shareholder agreement and stapled on top of it something that says that it's an operating agreement of an LLC. Now, corporations and LLCs are two different things. And this document they submitted to you is a shareholder agreement for a corporation stapled with what says it's a membership agreement of an LLC. Now, I think that's embarrassing. I really do. I mean, I don't know how.
Let's just.
Okay. Then I also, I find it very insulting to this group of neighbors that are here, that you write a letter, you submit it to the city behind a firewall, and you call us raucous and hollow. Now, I think we've behaved entirely properly. We've come to the meetings quietly. We've submitted petitions. We've talked to our neighbors. People have come out and just exercising our rights as citizens of the city of Mount Vernon to petition government to do what we think is the right thing to do. And it's really insulting to be talked to that way, hollow and raucous. I'm not going to pound the table, but I think it's just wrong. Mr. Blanchard's letter mentions 80 Vernon Parkway as some sort of paragon of development. We lived across the woods from 80 Vernon Parkway when that building was going on and on and on. The noise of the chipping was incessant. And if anybody here had walked while it was being developed, there was rock everywhere. The developer had dozens and dozens of spackle buckets full of debris in Hunt Woods Park. That's no example of how to do things. And I guess the final question is, the money that's being spent now for Mr. Blanchard to come here, the money that could have been spent to let Labella do its work, they would have been done by now if they had funded the escrow and we could all find out whether there's really an issue or not. And instead we're playing games. So.
Okay.
But I think it's a fair point, but I do have a follow-up question for if the environment, more fulsome environmental review is done by Labella and there are no material findings, then what objection do you have to this project?
I have to see, I can't possibly comment on that. If they come back and it's completely clean.
No, wait, I think.
No, but I'll tell you, no, but the problem is hypothetical, right? So the problem is you have to see the Labella report, right? So what is completely clean to them might not be completely clean to me. So for full transparency, we're not looking to nitpick. We're not looking to make things up.
There's something for this. I'm not
sorry.
suggesting that you are. I think the community has every right to be here and I think they have every right to be heard and their concerns should be heard. I'm just asking a simple question. If Labella does this work and the report comes back in an objective fashion that does not show any material concerns with the site, then I'm asking, what is the objection to this application?
If I agree that it's completely clean, or if we agree that it's completely clean, is right, how can we possibly object?
That's all I was asking.
I appreciate the question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's all I'm asking.
I just would like to add one thing, is I did want to bring this up before. I'm sure you've all seen it. This site, what's going on back there with Bronxville, sending its stormwater down into Mount Vernon with God knows what's coming out of the sewers in the brook. This is right behind that house. I mean, it is right behind. You can say 20 feet, 30 feet, but the house is built on a slope and the slope goes right down to where that water is. So I think that's worth knowing.
I asked one question. I'm not sure if we were concluded or not, but what's the process now for your determination? First of all, I would urge you to consult with counsel and consult with Corporation Counsel about the very serious legal arguments that we made. I appreciate, Mr. White's, that you don't want it to be legal, you want it to be practical.
Clarify, not that I don't want it to be, but I want to be clear that this is not a court of law.
Absolutely, I agree.
Right?
I
So
agree.
matters of statutory interpretation are not for this board to handle.
Absolutely, which is why, again, I suggest you consult with counsel before making any
Well,
decision.
and that's why we were doing that during the work session, to determine if there is a way to move forward that would satisfy both constituencies here. That was the issue. It wasn't that we don't want to hear the legal issue, but again, there's no one that is equipped on this board to be
Understood.
able to adjudicate either your position fairly or Mr. Blanchard and the applicant's position fairly.
Understood.
So that's why we are trying to go through this process with our counsel, and we will deliberate, I'm sure, to come up with a fair resolution. And that's why, in part and parcel, why I asked you the question. If the more fulsome review is done, because from where I sit, and I forget who made the point, I think it's a valid one, which is if you're spending money for counsel and spending money for all these other things, and Labella's review costs 10 grand, write the check. Get it done and see what it says.
Yeah.
And if it's clean, then we don't have an issue.
Absolutely correct.
So I mean, that's part of the dynamic. I understand that the applicant may have reasons why they may not want to do that, and that's why they're here. I get that.
So let me repeat, if it comes back clean, you will have no objection.
Okay, that's it.
And if I could ask just one more question, so the process now, you deliberate,
Well,
issue a written.
one, we're gonna finish listening to the community,
I'm sorry,
okay?
yeah,
And then we'll,
Thank you.
we'll get to that point. Mr. Geraci, in terms of you were talking about 80 Vernon Parkway,
Yes.
okay? Was that the same developer who built there?
It was just, and Mr. Blanchard's letter, he said, look at 8 Vernon Parkway. That got developed and nobody complained. Well, actually, it was a disaster, and if somebody go walk down that street, put the aesthetics aside. It took forever. There was rock everywhere. There was debris in the woods. And so I just was trying to point out that Mr. Blanchard isn't from here, doesn't know what he's talking about when he points to a building like that.
Right, no, I just wanted to know because when I wasn't sure if you were inferring because it was.
No, I don't.
The
believe
applicants
that-
here that
I
they
don't
were.
believe that this developer has anything to do with it.
And that particular property also, it's in close proximity to the woods there.
It's on, it's exactly on the opposite side of the wood.
Right, and so from looking at that, you know, I looked at the file also. I didn't see anything environmentally in there when they were building.
No, you know.
No, I'm just saying
I don't
because.
know, but I know that the neighbors on that street and the surrounding area
Right.
were very unhappy.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with the house because it does sit up there and then there was an inordinate amount of rock
And-
with that particular
Rock,
property.
noise.
And that was, you know, part of the reason also why I was asking about the bedrock, because I know that the bedrock was an issue in terms of, you know, what's the process for chipping, whether or not there's a way of minimizing that, if there's a way of building where that it's not going to be affected as much. Because I know that looking at the concerns, you know, that had been raised, you know, that had been a pretty big one. So I wanted to, you know, find out from the applicant in terms of, you know, possible mitigation measures to reduce either the chipping or building around or building kind of somewhat on to get an idea. I had also asked the question in regards to the hazardous materials that, from my understanding, I don't have a copy of that report, but that would be something that, you know, we would want to get that the building department has a copy of the report in regards to the demolition of the house. Because I know that there was a concern in regards, and I had actually mentioned it myself in terms of possible contaminants in the house. So looking at the scope of work that had been possibly proposed, if there are certain things that have in fact been done, then I guess if there's a report that the building department has, you know, indicating that toxic asbestos, you know, lead, things of that nature, that the house itself being taken down in a certain manner, and there's shown that there's nothing there, because I believe from the Labella environmental proposal that they were talking about, you know, the potential toxins within the house. So if that's something that has been done, I don't think it's necessarily something that has to be duplicated if that's something that has been satisfactory to the building department. So I guess I'm trying to, you know, get a better handle.
Mr. Celsi, what I would say is that when the board decided that Labella was necessary, it was because the things that had been submitted by the applicant were plainly unsatisfactory. And just one example, the environmental report from a man who never visited the property, who sent a photograph, an aerial photograph of the property, and then told us that there are no birds, there are no trees, there's no wildlife, there's no water. It's just ridiculous. And that's why you ordered the study. Do the study. As Mr. Ballard just said, if the study is completely clean, then I guess we'll just hang our heads and go back to our houses and be unhappy.
Right. I guess what I'm getting at, if there are certain parts that, you know, you're talking about the study, if something has been done in terms of not necessarily duplicating
What they
something.
said has been done, it really hasn't been done.
But I haven't seen the report, and supposedly the building department has the report in regards to the demolition of the house.
The last time we were all here, the environmental.
No, that's not what I'm referencing. What I was talking about was that the applicant had indicated that the building department has a report. I guess they went there to get a permit for the demolition and submitted, you know, information pertaining to the fact that there was nothing in the house that was a health hazard. And so what I'm saying is if there's something that was in the report and something has already been done, if there are certain things that fall within the scope of getting a building permit also, and that would cover the rock and things of that nature, I don't know whether or not, you know, duplicating something is necessary.
Well, you know, I have to say that I'm not familiar with whatever they submitted. We've been focused on.
No, I completely understand. Again, I'm just trying to, you know, this is before us. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, residents have concerns about this also. And, you know, so we're just trying to, you know, weigh concerns with also things that fall under, you know, a different department's purview as well. So when it comes to building and things of that nature with, you know, bedrock and things of that, that's something that falls under building department. And that would be, you know, state and county regulation, city, you know, things of that nature. So that's kind of what I'm just trying to.
Daryl.
You're not actually gonna come up while I'm talking, right? You're gonna wait for me to call for the next person?
I just want to add to what you're saying.
Okay. I love it, you know, so you know what? Come on, but just for the record, when the chair is speaking,
Yes,
the chair is speaking,
I'm sorry.
okay? And but you can now, just let me know your name for the record.
Joanne Zach, Z as in zebra, ACH. I live at 40 Pondfield Parkway.
Thank you.
I pulled the building department file of 55 Pondfield, and there was no demolition. application in there. There was nothing to do with what they have proposed. Absolutely nothing. I made a note. I can find it and send, but it was just the usual standard building department info from when the house was built. Okay, and with one or two open permits that were never closed, because I believe the work was never done, having to do with the roof and a gutter from 10 or 20 years ago. There was nothing in the file, and I looked at this file maybe 6 weeks ago. That had the building department's demolition permit was in there, or any reports having to do with hazardous materials.
So when you were looking to file, did you go into OpenGov? Did you do a request?
Yes, I did a request. It took about 10 days for them to call me to say the file was ready for me to come in and look at.
Because unfortunately, there are times in which they have different systems set up.
Mhm.
And sometimes you'll find that there's information in one place and not necessarily, the record keeping is not the best.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that I hear you.
Okay.
And it's not that it's just possible that it exists someplace. So we certainly are going to find that information that, has supposedly been submitted.
Okay.
Okay. So, I understand because I quite frequently have to go to the building department to look for files, and
so do I.
And there are a lot of things that are open from not even 10, 20 years ago, but 90 years ago.
Mhm.
So yes. So,
Sorry.
but we will look into that,
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
to see.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please come up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Joanne Pergalos. I am a 20-year resident in this area in Mount Vernon. And I live at 20 Ridgeway Street. And my best friend lives literally across the street from the development site. I'm raising my 3 kids in this area, and it's the Huntswoods. We go to my friend's house all the time. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to add my comments and concerns to this issue. So really quickly, first concern is stormwater and sewer capacity. I'm just adding my concerns too. Mount Vernon, we know, is already under a federal Clean Water Act consent decree because of stormwater and sewer issues. So adding, in my opinion, new demand to an already stressed system could worsen compliance problems and increase the risks for our residents. We already know we're at risk. We don't even go to Huntswoods because of their risk right now. Second, impacts on Huntswoods parks and our neighborhood tree canopy, right? This park is a vital green space. Tree removals, blasting, and site changes could directly affect its ecological balance and our community's character and the beauty of just walking in nature. Third, blasting and rock removal. This concern is about the heavy excavation that is likely to happen here, and any excavation without strict oversight of the blasting can damage nearby homes. My friend's home right in front, utilities and damage the utilities and cause any safety risks. And then finally, I'd love to underscore what my fellow neighbors have said. I do support the idea raised at earlier meetings that I didn't attend of hiring a third-party environmental consultant. This step will ensure the environmental assessment form and reports are accurate and unbiased. So in closing, I respectfully request that the board require an independent environmental review, mandate on-site stormwater retention, limit tree removals, and require replanting, enforce strict blasting, noise, and dust controls. So I just appreciate your careful consideration of these points as you're making your decisions.
Just so you know that, a lot of the things that, thank you for coming this evening and bringing, your questions and concerns to us. A a lot of, you know, what you had indicated, that's all regulated also. So you can't just, you know, blast. You can't, and I don't believe that they would be blasting. I believe that it would be chipping. Stormwater and sewer capacity. Yes, we all know that we have a very, you know, antiquated system here also. But that is also something that would fall under the city engineer to also evaluate, and DPW as well. So they have to sign off on things of this nature. The building department has to sign off in terms of what's going on. Chipping and things of that nature, any structural issues, vibrations that could affect, you know, housing. Having pictures taken, you know, if there's something that has changed. You know, bringing it to the building department's attention also would be a way in which to, you know, make sure that it's fixed, you know, and fixed properly. Let's see, tree removal, yes, and we love trees, so in terms of, you know, making sure that trees, if they're removed or replanted, things of that nature, is something that, you know, we, you know, find to be essential as well. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. And, you know, thank you for, again, for coming and being here for 20 years and raising your family here.
Raising them.
You know, but, okay,
Thank you.
Right, thank you. All right, yes. Yes. Right, I will also, and thank you, Commissioner Whites. If we could, get from the building department, the file that they have, and also pertaining to what the applicant has made, as a representation. In regards to the demo permit and everything that's been submitted, that would be greatly appreciated.
Jeremy, we have the demo permit number. If I could give it to your staff. It's
Okay.
demo permit number, it's DML 24-4. It's in, the application materials are in the portal, the city of Mount Vernon portal, building department portal.
Thank you. All right,
Okay, great, that's helpful.
so
Yeah.
where'd she go?
She left, I think.
Oh,
Next person.
yeah, no, because I was gonna let her know that that's what I was talking about in terms of sometimes there are things that are out there. So we're gonna find out from the portal what information is there. So, yes, and next person who would. But no, please come up. Thank you.
Hi,
Good evening.
Debbie Bauman, I'm sure you remember me.
I did.
You know, one of my concerns is that Mr. Geraci just spoke about things that were submitted and this community saw that were somewhat disdainful to our community. And even this environmental form that they gave does not describe the property at all. So I have some question that if we don't get a third party in there to look at what's going on, then that we throw up our hands because we don't know if what they're telling us is really what's happening. And I think it's very, very important to our community, particularly to some of the houses where we've had flooded basements. We've had concern about our water quality. And even though he says we're just going to have 2 more toilets, right now, 1 person lived in that house for many, many years. And now we're going to have 2 large houses with many people living, as many as 8. If it's 8, it could be more. And that means that there's going to be much more water being used, much more toilets being flushed, many more showers. And so it's very important to have someone come in who is not related to us, it's not related to the builder, and tell us what's really happening. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
It's a mic drop.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you. Mic drop.
Drops my.
Mic drop. That was good. That was good. Oh, yes, please, sir, come up.
Hello.
Good evening.
Committee. I am Jonathan Moon. I am the owner of 55 Parkway West. It's about 500 feet from the site that they're speaking of. I just wanted to say that, to let my voice be heard on record. We moved in during the pandemic, 2020, we did a complete renovation. And since then, I spent everything we have on the renovation, and we've had to spend almost $100,000 trying to mitigate water damage in our house, which is sewage and water, and no amount of sump pumps can manage when the storm drain comes into your basement full of sewage. Okay, so when this gentleman says that just 2 houses, that's 1 house too many already. In my estimation, I'm not an expert, but I have lived this for 5 years so far. So I just want to make sure that, you see the faces of people who are trying to have a family and live a life. I have a son who's 15, and we're trying to just, be here and survive and contribute. But this is not, this plan is not a contribution to our neighborhood. And so I really want you to think clearly and focus that there are people with real lives and real investments who've given everything to be here, and to weigh that on your decision. Okay, so I just wanted to be heard. So thank you.
Thank you. Someone there, who wanted to?
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. My name is Frank Mercado Valdez. I am a retired broadcaster, and I've been an investor here in Mount Vernon. I actually came up from New York City today because I've been watching these meetings for some time. We have some significant investments in the city through a group of investors. And a few weeks ago, we were privileged enough to be hosted by Commissioner Rouse. And I was able to bring some of the investors in to talk about the exciting changes that are happening in Mount Vernon. I want to commend all of you for the work you've done on these charter revisions. It's not easy to admit you have to change and to change things to make them better so that you can grow. I want to say something from an investor's perspective. I know that sometimes runs afoul with the people who live there. I respect the people who live here. I grew up in the Bronx. Mount Vernon was our summer vacation camp. Growing up in the Soundview section of the Bronx, every rich Black person I knew lived in Mount Vernon, and I respect Mount Vernon. But there's something fundamentally wrong when someone can buy a property, be as of right, go through the planning examiner, go through all of the various things necessary, and still have a organized group of individuals with talking points like they sound like Fox News coming here and saying this, and this, delay. And if you only knew how much that suppresses investment. I got people that want to invest in Mount Vernon that can't because they believe you don't respect their rights, not variances, not zoning changes, which are reasonable to oppose, but rather things that are fundamentally as of right. Then someone will come up with this reason or that reason or this report. And when this man, who I never met this man, and I hope I'm not hurting you today, because if I'm hurting you, I apologize. But this man, I actually was going to buy that house. Boy, am I glad I didn't get my investors in that house, because I had the same idea you had. It's the only logical use for that very old, historically insignificant house, because I live on a house in Manhattan with landmarks. Okay, we know what a landmark is, and this city probably should have a landmark commission if it so wants to protect its property. But this property not only is not significantly important, culturally or significantly important, it frankly would be better for your tax base to have 2 beautiful McMansions right next to each other. And while they're worried about 8 people moving into Mount Vernon, living there, if they're paying taxes and they're spending money and they're vibrating your neighborhood, isn't that better for Fleetwood to bring in new money, new people, new investments, rather than to have this, I didn't think I'd be in a room where I'd be the youngest guy at 63 years old, okay? But you're going to have to bring in new people, new energy, and new money to Fleetwood at We bought that property on Orchard. It's been sitting there for 3 years. Because we're scared to do anything with the property on Orchard because of course, no one knows what your rights are in Mount Vernon. So I want to end this by saying, we believe in the city, we believe in you. And I would ask that we not allow organized groups to deny business people their right to do business in Mount Vernon and make the city better and improve the tax base at the same time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Lisa Berger. I live at 125 Douglas Place. I've been in Mount Vernon now for like 27 years. I love my neighborhood. And yes, we should have more investors in Mount Vernon and we can fix that out. That's how you increase your tax base, not our neighborhood. So I ditto what everybody said about our neighborhood and the concern I have for going through all the bedrock and the storm sewer. We do have a problem already. Our basements flood when it rains heavily. And when the developer here said that it's one house they're building, it's not one house. They're knocking down one house and building two houses. And those look like some pretty big houses. So I don't think it's 2 toilets. I think it's gonna be at least 3 toilets in each house. Like, that's realistic here. So since we already have a problem with our sewer, I don't think we should add even more to the infrastructure of Mount Vernon. Our neighborhood, I call it the jewel of Mount Vernon. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I'm sure you guys have been there. Everybody walks their kids in the neighborhood. It's a nice, quiet street. We walk our dogs, we run, we exercise in that neighborhood. I'd love to keep the charm of Mount Vernon. It's special to me. I've been here 27 years. I love where I live. My kids have gone to school here. And I'm proud of our neighborhood and I don't want to change the way it is. I know change is hard. I do accept change. I think there has to be a lot of other ways we can change Mount Vernon by when you go downtown. And, you know, I think that it's a beautiful home. You may think it's run down wherever you are. It's run down, I agree. But they just did E.B. White's house. That house was run down too, and they restored it to a beautiful building, and now it's gonna be our library, you know? So it's a beautiful building. I don't see what's wrong with an investor coming in and putting money into that beautiful home and for a nice family moving in there and get the tax base from that when they redo it. So I'm asking for our rights as a community to be heard, to you guys to understand where we come from as a neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to
Thank
make,
you, Ms.
I'd
Gordon.
like to make a brief comment about the prior gentleman, with regard to the prior gentleman who spoke. I don't think the members of this community are, you know, causing a stir or doing anything on purpose. I think they have legitimate concerns about the potential environmental impacts of this application. I think that's period, full stop. From an investor perspective, if it were me, if I could spend $10,000 and take all the issues off the table, I would do it. Now, the concern, as I'm sure the applicant may have, is that if you spend that money and then there are other things that are revealed, then you gotta spend more money. So $10,000 could become $100,000 or $200,000. And that's speculation. We don't know whether that's the case or not. Yeah, please do.
It's not that we don't want to do it. It just took the city of Mount Vernon to get LaBella engaged until about 2 months ago. We were waiting for this application for LaBella to be engaged. You could ask Lucas, but it's been going on since we were here in September, October last year. We got approval in July or June. So we're not against not doing this. We want to do, but it's the scope of work has to be what you guys was just to remind you.
Let's talk about
just right now. I'm very good.
No, we just want to talk about the scope of work. So we agree with you. An independent environmental consultant removes my subjectivity as a hired representative, and I get to rely on a third party. Here's what the issue was. Here's what the issue was. Labella proposal, total proposed lump sum budget, $23,750. For what? Let's see. Phase one, depth to bedrock, $4,500. We are saying, wait a second, depth to bedrock for $4,500, that's covered under your code. We don't need to, right? Second thing, impacts to habitat, flora and fauna, $3,500. We spent all summer trying to get, I was on Lucas and Commissioner Rouse saying, let's get that done right now. You know, there was a question of whether or not we had the authority to go piecemeal. I said, we'll take a chance. We want, get that out there. $3,500, we'll pay for that report right now. We want to get that. Why? Hazardous materials related to demolition, $8,500. We did it. Building department signed off and issued a permit, right? So that could come out. Water usage and wastewater impacts, $5,000. Like, we wanted to put like $5,000 for, you know, that seemed excessive. Oh, we have a right to push back, right? We're not objecting in terms of don't do it. We're just, finally, water quality impacts for Laurel Brook, $2,250. That also is covered under your code. So like, we're, you know, like, it's not that there's a perception we said no, we're not saying no. We're just, this was the proposal. It stated, went to the city council May 22nd of 2025. And so we're just trying to, you know, bring some reason into this and bring some practicality. That's all.
I don't begrudge you for that, Mr. Blanchard, and I think, please, go right ahead. It sounds like we have in front of us.
If they're, so they're willing to do the work, they just don't want to pay the price. So put it out.
Hold on.
So put it out for proposal, get the lowest bid. And then that's the lowest bid, you'll pay that, okay? No, because they went to great pains to avoid that to save you time. That is correct. That is correct.
All right. I'm gonna interject for one moment, because I think that it sounded somewhat reasonable to me that there was an indication that in regards to the flora and fauna, which needs to probably be done now, is done. The bedrock, what they're talking about, if that's something that falls under the code, I don't see why that would be necessary to repeat that and have somebody else do a study on the bedrock.
Yeah, but when does the code kick in? After you approve the subdivision and the demo, and then we're all, we need, I'm sorry.
You would be in the situation where the applicant would have to, you know, do everything to code, which would include that bedrock component of it.
Right.
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you know, if there are certain aspects of that environmental, you know, report that, you know, have in fact been done, and that's something that can be taken off of that proposal, that contract for Labella, why wouldn't we try to do something and say like, let's do the flora and fauna? If there's something else that needs to be done, that's on there also. Then that be done as well. And then that way we can kind of, you know, move forward and know what's going on.
Because as Mr. White points out, let's have an independent party come in and determine it, and then we're good. We're 15 months into this now. So.
Okay, I guess I'm still not understanding. I guess I'm getting back to.
What I'm concerned about is that this project gets approved and then they start. And then there are problems and they don't fix them and there are fines. Everything that they've done so far has been, and I'm not saying it's intentional, but it's raised eyebrows. They've come in with reports that were clearly inaccurate, sloppy, incomplete. And as Mr. White points out, right now, the escrow is set up. It can be funded. This work can be done. It comes back clean. We're done.
So I'm going to go back to if there's something that can be removed from that's already been done, or something that falls under somebody else's purview, as is the building department, then why wouldn't we do that? I can understand. I mean, if there's something that's needs to be done, the flora and fauna, yes. I mean, having someone do that, I understand completely. The bedrock, I think that does kind of fall under the code that the building department would be responsible for. And I think that we really try to, do a deep dive in terms of how to mitigate the bedrock as best as possible. And there was a suggestion also that came from the planning staff in terms of the 90-degree, change. And then the applicant also indicated, trying to have the garages close to that also, so you're not, being that involved. So I think that something like that, I don't think that that would necessitate a bedrock study from the independent consultant, if that's something that falls under the building department.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about the other aspects that are in the environmental proposal? And then
Well,
see which things really, need to be part of it.
I'm still concerned. I think Mr. Weiss's suggestion is a good one. We have an independent person come in. It can be done in a matter of weeks.
Okay, I guess I'm still not under, I'm talking about bedrock right now.
Because look, they submitted an environmental study.
I'm talking about the bedrock
But I'm talking
specifically
about the
right now.
environmental study.
I'm
right?
talking about the bedrock.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm talking about is the bedrock, and then you're moving from my bedrock
Yeah, okay, so.
elsewhere. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to,
I don't know,
let's
I don't know honestly, I don't know the procedure with the building department. I can't comment on that. I don't know whether.
So why don't we find that out in terms of what, and because I'm sure that the building department, in terms of the bedrock, I'm sure that falls under not only the county, but also state regulations.
At what point is that done?
Okay.
Was that done before?
No, that, and I understand your point, but
Yes.
what I'm saying is there's a safeguard. One, after, if this is approved, okay, this would have to go to ARB in terms of the design elements of this also, okay? In terms of getting a permit to build and all of it, this is something that would have to go to them, and then they would have to meet the regulations for the city, and the county and the state. So that's what I'm saying, is that it seems to me that bedrock part, would not be as significant because it's covered by the building department and state regulations. But the flora and fauna, to me, would be more important because that's something that should be done now. And that is before something transpires. I'm just trying
No, I
to,
appreciate it. I'm out of my depth. I don't know the rules. I don't know the regulations. I can't comment. You may be right, you may be wrong. I don't know.
but I'm just saying, I mean, it just seems to make sense
What
to
I'm-
me
what I'm
in
concerned-
that one.
What I'm concerned about with the bedrock
Mm-hmm,
is there's a tremendous amount of bedrock in the area.
mm-hmm.
The removal, whether it's shipping, I know it's not blasting, it's shipping, whatever it is.
Right.
What's the impact going to be on neighboring houses, on our infrastructure, on our, what's the word?
On the structures of your homes, your
Structure, yeah,
foundations,
yeah.
right,
Foundations.
Foundation,
Foundations.
right.
So-
I understand.
So,
But I have to think that there has to be, ordinances, guidelines in place, because homes are built all over the place. Homes are built next to other homes. That there has to be some way, whether, there's got to be some meters or something that you could only, the vibration has to be a certain amount. And I would say, it happens, and the houses are built and sometimes there are instances where, maybe there is a problem. Okay, and that's something where,
but wouldn't we
you
want to know
address
that in
but-
advance?
But you don't know that.
Well, you do know if they're going to go and probe and see how deep they have to go.
Well, again, I don't think that they would know specifically, because some of the things that we talked about today, were
Yeah, but
minimizing, no, I'm just saying, we're minimizing, the chipping. To see whether or not also there may be larger portions of the bedrock that are, really not going to be evolved, that much. So, that's something that, I don't know, and nobody knows until,
I'm sorry.
no, I'm saying
The
that
pro-
nobody
but the
knows until
process-
it's.
But they
right.
come in today after 15 months, and now they're saying it's a little bit, only a little bit here, a little bit there. How do we know? We went to an architectural review board meeting.
But we don't know, and the answer is, since we don't know, there is another body in this municipality, which is the building department.
Right.
Okay, and that's really where, that's their responsibility. That's the building inspector's responsibility to make sure that they, and the code enforcement officer, to make sure that everything is done,
Right.
to code. And that's the protection.
Right, but that's after the fact.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay,
That-
but then what I'm concerned about is it's too late. Because what's gonna happen, the building department's gonna come in and maybe they'll comply, maybe they won't comply. I would be much more comfortable knowing in advance what it is they're gonna do. We're hearing for the first time tonight that it's different than what they told the architectural review board. How do I know? How do we know? How can we possibly know?
I can say that the code enforcement officer, they like to give fines. So.
Fines
Yeah.
are irrelevant.
Okay.
Fines,
They tend to add up and they're stop work orders. So you can't continue if something is not done.
I understand.
So,
But
Mr. Chair,
yeah.
if I may,
please,
to me,
please.
I try to break things down and make it pretty simplistic.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that the applicant has an approval for, or that has been previously done, should be taken off the table. With regard to the environmental aspect of it, to the extent that there are things that have not been reviewed and have not been done, an independent third party should come in and review those things to make sure that the application is on the up and up.
Well-
No, but look, we have to be fair here on both sides, and we can't like just speculate about everything that can go wrong in order to hold this applicant back from, from improving a parcel that they purchased. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think that's right. So I think your point is well taken with regard to the independent environmental review. I think that needs to be done. I think that planning staff needs to review that work order and make sure that everything that's in it is appropriate to be done, to Chair Celsey's point that he's made a few times during this discussion. And if that's the case, continue with it, get the escrow money out, pay for it. It's funded, get it done, and then see what the report says.
Yep.
And then go from there. You have already stipulated to me that if the report is clean,
Right.
there is no further objection.
correct. I stipulated that to you on the entire report, not a piece of it.
That's fine.
I stipulated when we were talking, I was considering the entire report, not just the environment.
But my point is, sorry.
Don't you understand that from the point of view of the community? We don't know the ins and outs, right? So we came here relying on you and we made a proposition and you accepted it. And we relied on it. And now on this past Friday, there's an agenda, which we've seen for the first time, where all of this is being revisited. I have no idea, we have no idea whether, and with all due respect, Mr. Celsey, I'm sure what you're saying is correct. I don't know how it works. So I can't stand here and say, yeah, you know what, that's reasonable, I agree with you, because I don't know if I do, because I don't know, because I had no time.
But the applicant has every right, sir, to come back to this board to argue.
No, he doesn't.
Sure he does.
I beg you, I beg you differ.
The applicant has the right to do that. Sure they do. Show me where he does it.
No, they came in and they asked for the right to determine this a type 2 and therefore tear up Labella.
Look,
That was their application.
Look, but they have the right to come here and make an argument and posit a position, right? It is up to this board to evaluate it and determine whether or not the board is going to accept it.
Right.
Right? But they have every right to come here.
It doesn't bother you that they waited this long, that they acquiesced, that they participated?
You know, things in life that bothers me. My son was just bothering me because and he was home. So there are multiple things that bother me. But in this case, we have to be fair to the community and we have to be fair to this applicant.
Well, not too long ago, I heard you say, spend the money, let's do it, let's get it clean, let's do it.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. My position hasn't changed.
Okay.
I think the independent review should be done. The money's there in escrow. I didn't hear the applicant voice an objection to doing it or paying for it. So let's get it done. Yeah, so there you go.
We don't want, it's not a blank check, we have the right to push back, this full 5-page list, we thought was objection, what we picked. We took the phase 2, like Chairman said, forward, so let's get it done now, be richer.
So if there are things that are in that contract proposal that.
Can I just say-
So the floor, I'm sorry, give me 1 second, Horatio. I'll let you speak afterwards. if there are things, that, I'm sure that we have a copy of the contract proposal, you know, that have in fact been duplicated and can be, you know, proven to be accurate, i.e. the portal for the, hazardous material demo, things of that nature. So that would mean that that aspect of the report, to me, you know, the environmental would not have to be done if the city building department is comfortable and signed off on that.
We agree with that.
So, okay, so what, but I'm just saying, so I'm saying let's go down that, and to me, also in terms of the bedrock, that's something that the building department would handle as well. So I don't think that that part,
Right.
you know, but the other things in terms of the flora and fauna, and I don't have it in front of me, what the other
Would you like to just look at
things
this?
are, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's, all right, bedrock, so that the flora, fauna, and materials. So that leaves, you know, to me, and I don't know whether or not the city engineer or DPW have they weighed in terms at all in regards to water usage and the wastewater impacts?
Well, they've gotten, you know, through your process, those departments have copies of the application, but I'm not aware if they've provided any comments.
Okay.
Right. Right, it's, that's, yeah.
Residents say that, and
This what the department they have done. And those-
you guys do a great deal of what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Let's disagree.
Yes, so.
This is requested already in this.
What?
This is done.
This is the name, they have it as a building, correct.
So they don't use.
This is the, yeah, it's my building, this is the building.
Okay, that's building.
So building, right, so these are the questions that, right.
7,000. Okay, so this is building department, this must be possible, but the only thing is.
So I don't think that that, well, I don't know, okay,
7,200.
I'm sorry.
Because you said this is done, and this was requested, right?
Correct, but like, for example, the wastewater study for $5,000, this is just a
I'm sorry,
calculation.
can we just, I just want to pass it around.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pass it over here. Thank you.
That was in the proposal. So it's not, we have a two-pronged question regarding the proposal. One, as we're hearing, remove redundancy, but two, we are questioning, like, for example, the $5,000 for the wastewater and water impacts. That would be handled arguably by your engineering department. Why is LaBella doing that for 5,000? For really a single family home, it seemed excessive. We're not trying to be cheap. We're just trying to, you know, I think that there's a question of fairness.
Right.
No, but I'm just,
Right.
yeah.
But
Right.
with that respect, two parcels that you're probably gonna sell north of $2 million each. We're talking about. $10,000. Look.
We hear you. We hear what you say.
Look, I know that, but the relative dollars that you're pushing back on relative to.
I understand. It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
To what you're doing, it just doesn't make sense.
Can I just say one thing?
No, you know, one second.
Just a little
Oh, Mr.
surprised
Drake,
now that
come on
we're
over.
hearing that
Please.
we want to do part of LaBella, but not other part. If Mr. Blanchard had read his letter, it said, shut it down, stop, give us the permit, and get out of the way. It doesn't say anything about, oh, maybe we can do the flora and fauna.
Right, but you know what,
maybe we don't need to-
and that's why we're here discussing it,
Right.
okay? Because
But-
sometimes, but sometimes, you know, you may have one position, then you have another position, and then you have discussion and you talk about, hey, you know what? That actually makes sense. So why don't we do that?
But is that really what we're gonna hear, or the next time?
Well, it doesn't really matter if that's what we're gonna hear. I mean, we're discussing it right now. Okay, this is full transparency. Everybody is seeing it and we're going over this, you know, talking about things that we say. So we have the flora and fauna right here that, you know, definitely, and they just said that, you know, they're amenable to doing that. And I think that that's a concern with the residents in terms of the water. I mean, have to figure out exactly, you know, what that is in terms of, we talk about the water quality impacts, you know, for Laurel Brook. when we're talking about the impacts, what impacts, I'm not talking about that.
But
Okay. But no, but but we're talking about what the water, we're talking about the stormwater runoff. What water impacts are we talking about?
I think there's stormwater that'll run off down Douglas Place and affect
Okay,
houses like Harris.
but one of,
There's stormwater
I'm
that'll run off into the brook.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that has to be done in the event, if this application were to move forward, okay, 100% of the storm water has to be retained on the property. That is code. Okay, so that is something that has to be done. The calculations, the architect, everything is there, all the calculations. So that's why we're having this discussion. Because when we're talking about, that's why I'm asking, we're talking about the water and talking about for the lower brook, the water is not going from the property, okay, anywhere but staying on that property. That's code now. I know homes built years ago, that wasn't the case, but that is the code that is now. So we're trying to go through this here and try to listen to, what the residents, and again, we thank everybody for coming out this evening. This is important. You're taking the time to come out, and so this is being taken very seriously, but we also are trying to be fair also in terms of if there is something that has in fact been done. The redundancy, I don't necessarily think should be done.
I would just urge you to look at the things that supposedly have been done. They're unreliable, they're faulty, they're filled with errors. And I think Mr. White's made an excellent point. If this goes forward, Mr. DiMatteo is going to make a lot of money. And it's a very valuable neighborhood. To just spend the $23,000 now, find out what's right or wrong about this and move forward with it instead of fighting. If we got all the answers, or is there something they're afraid to find?
Right. But again, and to your point, and would not disagree with that, but if something has in fact been done, and we're going to check at the building department to see what they have, and if that's something that they have signed off on, okay, and it's been proven to them that it's okay, there's not a need for the hazardous materials to go in there. You're talking about the bedrock. That's something that's going to fall within the building department again, in terms of when they're getting a building permit to do these things. And again, county and, state regulations and city regulations, go into there. So I don't think that they're saying that they don't want to do, I just think that they're just saying, let us do that. If we've done something already, can we take that out of here and then do what's left on here? And I think that is, and
if that's the case, then I think we would all welcome a proposal from Mr. Blanchard and his client.
So I'm gonna give this back to Mr. Blanchard right now. So
Because I
right
don't
now.
see it. I see a letter saying we don't have to do anything.
But
Correct.
Mr. Tracy, you're absolutely right. And again, that's why we're here. And I'm glad that you're here so that we can have this discussion and we can talk about these things and hopefully come to. I'm going to give you a second, Mr. Bowman. I'm going to.
We appreciate.
No, absolutely. No,
I
it's important.
respectfully ask that the planning board, disapproves his, request, and you approve or move forward with the environmental independent study. It's only $24,000 in the scheme of things. These two houses that will eventually be built in some manner, I believe, will net the developer or be over $2 million, I'm sure, at least $1.5 million for each house that he puts up. So why can't we just spend the 24,000 to satisfy the community?
Okay, but.
Well, and we're not.
And we're trying to come up with something that actually, works for both sides also, because if something has in fact been done,
But we're
why would
delayed.
it, but if the building department, and we've already heard that it's in the portal, that's there, so if that's verifiable, why would they have to do the same thing again? That doesn't make sense.
Well,
So, but if there are other aspects in that report that need to be done, that haven't been done, that should move forward.
you brought up the dry wells. Everything has to be.
Sorry?
All the runoff has to be contained within the property. That means they have to dig all over the property, correct? and dig
Well,
down
they.
to put in, how many dry wells are on the plans?
Well, they don't have to, again, this is for the site plan, I mean, for subdivision,
Right,
okay? So they would have to, you know, make the application to the building department for these two properties.
Right.
Okay, to be built. And in those plans, okay, that would be submitted, architectural plans that would be submitted, it would indicate all that you're talking about right now,
right,
okay? In terms of how that water is going to be retained on the property.
right,
That's to code. That's something that the building department handles.
Right.
So this is not something that is made up. This is something that actually has to be done.
right. No, I understand
Any new
that.
house that's.
But
that-
I'm talking in terms of the bedrock, how we don't know how much bedrock there is, how deep it goes. This environmental study will help us understand what will take place. And we are delaying again if you don't,
Okay, I can.
I would just move on, get the,
I can fully appreciate, you know.
yeah,
your
let's
sentiment.
move on, get this
Okay.
addressed
But
and
I-
settled. We're a year and a half into it, we're all tired. and-
I really do appreciate it. Okay.
Okay,
Mr.
and-
Bowman. You wanted to add something, Mr. Bowman?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, please.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
The agenda for tonight was Mr. Blanchard's letter. His letter asked you to tear everything up, start all over. It wasn't, can we please change the scope of work? So we did not have notice of what he is now asking to do. And in all fairness to us.
But I think that it was something that just came up, that we brought up as the board, trying to discuss what's going on with the application. You just talked about the environmental, study, and we were talking about certain things that have in fact been done. So it's not a matter of Mr. Blanchard or you, Mr. Baumann. It's a matter of the planning board looking at everything that's before us, having the conversation, understanding that there are certain things that, have been done, okay, certain things that haven't been done. And trying to, figure out a way in which to, listen, no one's gonna ever be 100% happy with any decision. It's just not, it just doesn't happen. So what we're trying to do really is listen to the concerns of the community and also, weigh them also with the rights of a property owner too. And we're trying to look at those, and I was gonna ask Mr. Blanchard to look at that in terms of, what things, the applicant, would be willing to do, and then we can see whether or not that's going to, work.
I understand that.
Yeah.
It's not my point.
Okay.
When you come before, we have a hearing. And the agenda is based on a letter.
The agenda is based on a subdivision application for 55 Pondfield Parkway.
But
Mr. Baumann, come on, seriously. It's about a subdivision at 55 Pondfield Parkway. You're talking about an agenda, that's the agenda.
But
There's no other agenda.
but there's been a scope of work that was approved by you, that's gone to the city council, approved by the city council.
There was a scope of work, and to Mr. White's point, the applicant has every right to come back and say, you know what? I don't agree with something, and the reason I don't agree with it is because of X, Y, Z.
And if we had known that he was gonna say that tonight, we could have put.
But we didn't know he was gonna say anything.
I know, but you're dealing with it because you know the code and everything. We don't. We can't research it.
Okay, but I mean, again, to Mr. White's point, I mean, I think that we're, trying to be as fair as possible all the way around. And again, it doesn't please everybody, in terms of that. And I just asked Mr. Blanchard to look at that list that was there in the proposal and to let us know. We're having the discussion in front of everybody right now and to see whether or not. And you know what? You may say, hey, you know what? That's okay. Or you may say that it's not okay. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're trying to do what is best. And there are certain things that have in fact been done that probably really, there's not a need for it because you do have the other entity that's involved, which is the building department that is here. Just give me, I'm sorry, just 1 second, Stalman, okay? So, Mr. Blanchard, I'm sorry, I was gonna ask, and before you, Mr. Baumann, I'm just gonna ask him just to kind of go over, that list that's there, please.
Yes. This is like recent, this last things. Okay, yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so from looking at that list that was there, okay, so we saw the flora and fauna, that's
Yes.
something that the applicant is agreeable in terms of taking care of and doing.
We've actually already requested LaBella get out there and do it. We were hoping to be done before this meeting.
Okay. All right, so is that something that they are doing, or do they have to be contacted now?
Lucas is handling the coordination.
Is
Flora.
LaBella doing the flora and fauna?
Yeah, I spoke to the controller's office, yesterday, and if you have a check, you can bring it, they'll put the accounts ready to receive it. And then, LaBella, we basically, I sent the contract to the mayor's office for signature. I'm expecting it back and then they can begin the work, my understanding.
All right, so, okay, so that part we know. Let's go down.
No, sorry. So that's phase two. Phase one, depth to bedrock. Our position, that's a $4,500 analysis. When we do before we put a shovel into the ground, we are at the building department, the contractor has insurance. If we're chipping, you have to carry insurance in case the neighboring house their foundation is damaged. Our submission on the depth to bedrock is that's covered under that permitting process. It's because the building department we don't get a permit to start unless they approve our bedrock plan. And we're doing perk testing and digging around the site anyway. We'll be going into the building department.
I'm sorry, just for the residents here.
Yes.
You were just talking about the bedrock plan, you're talking about perk testing also. Can you just tell what that means so that they
Sure,
understand?
we're testing the ability for the soil to absorb water. This is sort of a very broad brush. And that goes to another issue here with our stormwater runoff. Meeting the code, we don't get permits to start construction until we prove to the engineering department we are retaining 100% of the stormwater. So that's why we thought, I don't want to jump around, but phase one, depth of bedrock. Phase 5, water quality impacts for Laurel Brook. And phase 4, water usage and wastewater impacts, we believe are covered under your city permitting process. And then the other outstanding item was the hazardous material related to demolition. We believe we've satisfied the building department already because they were willing to, in fact, they did issue a demolition permit based on our report that the house does not contain hazardous materials.
And you'll be able to provide that information to the planning
Happily.
staff so that we
Yes.
have that, okay?
Correct, sir.
Okay, so not that we don't take your word, but we don't take anyone.
Oh, it's due diligence.
We have to see it.
I have
you
no
know.
objections.
Okay.
Proper due diligence.
Correct. So in terms of things that you feel, that are fall under the guise of the permitting, that would be part of the bedrock. The depth, all of that because of the construction plan.
Wait, is that
have to be approved.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get a clear picture, so when we're talking, because I want
Yes.
to also, I really want the residents to understand, why it is we're talking about, something that is covered by the building department and, city and state codes also, because you don't get the permit unless certain things, are adhered to. And it's approved. I mean, there are codes that you have to, abide by.
Correct. And in fact, if it makes the community feel better, it's not actually, we have to go beyond just a simple depth question. We're showing the building department removal, methodology, hours, best practice construction management, construction practices. So it's the full totality of the bedrock picture. It's not just a depth question.
Right, and the reason I'm asking that again is that, the community is here.
Yes.
And a lot of them, don't know because they don't have, homes that are being built by them, around them. And don't know the process and don't know that there are certain things in terms of safeguards to ensure, not only, the safety there, but, yeah, I mean, pretty much to safeguard their interests also to make sure that everything is done, the code, so it doesn't have an impact on them. also in regards to, you know, the city engineer, I know that city engineer, you know, had been contacted.
Yes.
And I know that, you know, there's an article, and I saw the article, you know, before in regards to, you know, sanitary situations and things of that nature. But, you know, finding out whether or not they have those concerns also. So when I'm saying trying to remove certain things that, you know, from that list, would want to make sure that it's in agreement with, you know, the city engineer and DPW, that something, you know, doesn't need to be done.
Well, I can press them as an applicant after this meeting. I can reach out directly. I don't think it's improper. I'll include Mr. Johnson on the email. I'll reach out directly to the engineering department and to the DPW department. They probably get an application for a single, well, not probably, but oftentimes applications land on those desks and don't get processed. In any city, I can try to put it to in top of the inbox it for them and see if they will issue an affirmative comment to the board.
I mean, if we could get something, I think that would be very helpful as well.
Sure.
And also, if we could have staff kind of get from the building department and from just in terms of, you know, their regulations and the code in terms of, you know, what it is that's being discussed in regards to the sewer and sanitary also, you know, what they look for in terms of what triggers a further evaluation for them. I think that would be very helpful. You agree with that?
I do.
You guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Chair, the only outstanding item then would be the water quality impact for Laurel Brook. Again, we believe that's covered under the stormwater. If I can get, perhaps I will ask your engineering department to concur with my position that that is covered under the stormwater plan, the stormwater approval. And perhaps that would satisfy the board that that is also covered.
Okay, so now in the event that that's something that.
You
Yeah,
can try.
any of
That
these,
was
yeah.
sounds dubious.
I was gonna say that might,
Well,
that might be just on in terms of. If they don't, is that something that can be added to that scope so that can be taken care of? It's already on yet. No. Agreed upon. Oh, agreed upon.
We agreed upon.
In the event.
Yeah, we'll do that. Look, we'll add, let's cut to the chase. We'll ask Labella to add that. We'll add it in. The water quality impacts for Laurel Brook, we agree to add that to Labella.
Excellent, all right. Okay. All right, Ms. Down, yeah, please come up. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll right after. I heard hands with him. No, Gracie, Miss Bauman, the gentleman back there, and then. All right. Okay.
I don't understand something. So I'm a teacher.
Yes.
And I always teach the kids that we study something so that later on, we don't make a mistake. And we aren't sorry that we didn't find out that there might be a problem with what we're doing. And that maybe then we correct it before the project is over. And then we realize, oh my God, we forgot we did something. For $5,000, we are concerned about the depth of the bedrock. And the reason is we all have a lot of rock in our basements. And we've been told that if the rock is very deep and it moves, it could affect other houses where we live. And we're very concerned about that. Now, you just said, wait, look.
I just want to make sure that the applicant is hearing this, like, you know, what the concern is in terms of.
Sorry, and what you just said, hold on, what you just said is, what you said is you have insurance in case something happens. I understand that.
Right.
But I don't want to wait for the insurance. I don't want one of us to have something happen and we have to apply and get money from them through insurance. I'd rather them spend some money now and be assured that our houses are not, our foundations are not going to be shaken by this project.
Two different things.
Hold on a minute.
I was gonna say, I mean, I can appreciate that.
Yes.
but That does not mean, actually, when something is being done, that something couldn't be affected. So somebody coming back and
But
saying,
at least we're trying to get to the bottom of the problem.
but-
So I don't know why he's avoiding that. Let's do it.
but
It's
I
right
think,
there.
I think that also that's something that the building department actually, you know, has to do certain things when there is construction, when homes are being built.
Do
So
they
have-
do
they
that
have-
before,
they have to.
before the project or while it's going on? We want to know beforehand that what the depth of what's going on there. That's a very, very fair question for the neighbors to ask. It just seems to me, we're all a little worried about that. So why, when you, for $5,000, he can give us some peace of mind? Why not? My God, come on. I feel like he's avoiding something about it, so do it.
I'm just gonna thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna speak with them, but there's a gentleman back there. I'm gonna ask him to come forward. Then Mr. Geraci, and if there's anybody else who wants to come up after, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I arrived at the right moment because we have no more moments. My name is Tony Manganiello and I live on Douglas Place for the past 48 years. I am here tonight because I have heard a lot about bedrock, and it has been mentioned at least 77 times. I think that the house on which it is built, it's a testimony that it's a good, solid rock. I wonder what happens if it is ever touched an inch. I agree, something can happen very, very drastically, but nobody knows. And that's up to you as one of many chores to ascertain the fact. However, I came here because as I was listening to many obfuscating facts as presented, a French author came to my mind, the author of The Little Prince, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who says the essential things in life are invisible to the eyes. I'm sure you will have a nightmare over this tonight. But it is a fact. So one of the essential things tonight, we talked about historic. It's all relative. Perhaps I call this house iconic. Or some passionately, perhaps, it is historic. I think that's in a sense. Also, some of you, some of us here, may have remembered on Bremerton Avenue several years ago, they had the sign, "Welcome to Mount Vernon, the city of beautiful homes." I don't know if anybody remembers that. That is wonderful, and it's a testament that I have been living in this city for a long time. I'd like to thank you personally for making sure that it is kept like that, and you have done that job. At the same time, though, I see on your website that I read occasionally, you see Mount Vernon, the jewel of Westchester County. No wonder why many people want to live, want to discover where this jewel is. But we have presented to you, I think your job is to listen very diligently to what we have to say. But ultimately, I think you will have to refer to the architectural group, correct, of the architects, or the review board, the architectural review board.
That would be after.
Still
Right,
correct.
If the application's approved,
Yeah,
then it would.
absolutely.
Have to do that, yeah.
But I wanted to remind, I'm sure you know, you read the same thing I read, and this is available on the website, but I'd like to read it to you. And I think it speaks to itself. The architectural board duty is charged with conserving the value of buildings by preserving the aesthetic character of neighborhoods. Therefore, the Architectural Review Board will review items like building
construction material, all the bedrocks that you will find out, and certainly very important environmental issues. Building design and building style. I have not had, I don't know what this new proposed house looks like, and whether that is a rendition of which has been made available to you, but I like to bet that it will never look like anything that we have there now. With the intent, style, with the intent of issuing a certificate of appropriateness, it says here. And that word covers a lot of field. How it looks, how it's made up, and all that stuff.
And
I don't.
that's right, and that's a different board, and that is their purview to ensure.
Absolutely.
That, so if something is brought to them and someone in the ARB and they're looking at it, then they'll say, oh, how about, can you do this? Can you add this component to the design? Can you do this? And they try, to do the best that they can to have it, fit in as much as possible. And
It is for that reason that I am speaking, is that tonight I can go home and have the assurance that you will make this presentation to the architectural board, and they will just be reminded to take into consideration those essential values which are invisible to the eyes. I leave you with another poet, Keats. Beauty is truth. Truth, beauty. Some of you remember. We see truth in this wonderful icon. And I don't know anyone who would like to have it demolished, which is another word which I, thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to speak? No, okay. I don't know.
Thank you.
How are you?
Rob Taryn, I live at 220 Douglas Place. I'm just 2 houses over. My family and I moved there 3 years ago, so I guess you could say I'm a new investor in Mount Vernon. Planned to be here for a long time and raise my family here, and really love the area and the neighborhood, and I appreciate your time and your patience reviewing all these items. I have a young daughter. I'm very concerned about the health and environmental effects. I'm not versed in environmental law or anything like that, so I trust that you guys are considering this carefully, and it sounds like you are. I just wanted to reiterate that point.
Right. I just want to just to interrupt you just for 1 second. And that was, earlier I was talking about that in terms of, how a house is going to be taken down. And that again is something that goes under the building department's purview in terms of making sure, because that is our concern also, is to make sure that, and there are codes and there are methods in which they have to, do the demolition of the house. And so, yeah, so no, but no, that is, whether young, old, whatever.
The law is one thing, but in practice.
That is something that, is very important. And that is why, there are those codes that, not only the city, but
Well,
the state.
there's a code according to when you should be allowed to legally dig up the road and turn off the gas main too. And I was there when they did that without a permit, and I saw the letterhead that was not Mount Vernon City letterhead with no DPW commissioner signature on it. I went to the DPW here and they said there's no record of it, and it was done before anybody could do anything about it. So I understand, I understand there are things that are not under your control and different departments have responsibility for.
Right.
But, once it's done, and we can't undo it. So I just want you all to know that you're acting in good faith. You're trying to be fair. I understand it. Investors have a right, the community has a right, but not everyone may always act in good faith. And so, I would like to take this opportunity now to, make sure that we cross all our T's and dot all our I's and make sure that, the community is protected.
So thank you. Thank you. No, thank you for coming. Is there anybody else? Yes, please. Good evening.
Good evening, Honorable Board. I haven't been here in a long time, as some of you members know, and you know me. John Gallagher, 165 East Livonia Avenue. It seems to me I've been listening to, I didn't know many of the details prior to this proposal to subdivide this property. But I do know, and I've appeared in front of you several times in past years or whatnot, to talk about what's best for Mount Vernon. And Chairman Darrell Selzy, I know you and I have discussed it, and you tell me with the rest of the board, it's not in your purview. Your purview is to do what's right for Mount Vernon. That's what your purview is. You may have little details underneath, obligations and whatnot. You have a community that lives by that property. I'm by that property too, not that close, I'm on Livonia Avenue. You've heard what they want. You heard that they've given you a petition. They've got problems with this development. It's also about money. Obviously, this is about money, making money. And the gentleman that came up here that talks about investing in Mount Vernon, as we all know, members of residents of Mount Vernon, the investment in Mount Vernon has been terrible, if not horrible, for the last 40 years. That's why we have so many financial problems. That's why we have budget problems, because we build a lot of developments and they don't pay their fair share in taxes. They bring in a lot of problems. We're talking about a house or a subdivision, a house that was there into two houses. Yeah, that's not a lot of people, but you know what? It's changing the character of a neighborhood. These people that live right near that house bought that property based upon the way the house was. And all this discussions here, I haven't heard one thing. We're talking about money, about refurbishing that house and causing very minimal changes or obstruction to the neighbors around there. Is it possible that that house can be rehabilitated? Keeping the value and the nature of what that house is. This gentleman or these gentlemen that came here and gave their presentation, I haven't heard about that. That's an option that you should be.
Just so you know, Mr. Gallagher, this has been going on for a while, and some earlier meetings that have been brought up. Okay, just so you know. Okay, if you go back in the record, you'll see.
I wasn't kept abreast of it, just like a lot of things happen in the council that I'm not abreast of, about the sewage from Bronxville that's dumping in Mount Vernon for the last year and a half. And council people don't know about it? Come on, let's get realistic. About the medical waste plant that's being spewing out garbage and horrific stuff down on Sanford Boulevard in Fulton, okay? There's things that we don't know about. And these people here came tonight, obviously they've been involved in it, but obviously they know. It's their community. They live there. You live in Mount Vernon, obviously. You're on the planning board. You should realize money versus what a community wants are two different objects, okay? And if we combine them together and do the right thing and take that house and rehabilitate it, that might be the proper thing to do, okay? We do not need any more people in Mount Vernon. This gentleman does not know his facts. It's not 72,000 people in Mount Vernon. All you people know, talk to the fire department, talk to the police department, talk to the mayor, our mayor. She will tell you we're close to 90-something thousand people in Mount Vernon, okay? And a lot of them are illegal, okay? Illegal. And it's ridiculous. So we don't need that. Two more houses or one more house at that property, that's not going to make a big difference, but it's going to bother the people that live next to that house, okay? To me, that's important.
Okay,
So-
hold on. Back there, sir. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we could talk about investment in another topic about who should invest in Mount Vernon and what's been invested in Mount Vernon. If you want to do things in Mount Vernon, all right, as a planning board, rehabilitate all the houses that need to be repaired in Mount Vernon, all the violations that the building department doesn't look at. Yes.
We're just talking about this one particular.
Well,
thing right
it's
now.
all tied in. It's all tied in, sir.
Can't go all over.
No, it's
I got it.
all
I got it.
tied in.
I got it.
It's all tied in, Mr. Selzy, okay? It's all tied in that we have to do the job and you can start with this house. I would suggest you rehabilitate it and take a look at all the other stuff that's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in regards to this application before I call up you, Mr. Geraci? Hold on one second. No.
You think, I just want to know what the procedure is now, going over. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me.
Okay.
I just want to make two quick points,
No, go, please.
hopefully wrap this up.
No. Go ahead.
First of all, if the permit is issued, they're gonna tear the house down. So then we're left with an empty lot, and then maybe if the building department says, gee, the bedrock is bad, then we're gonna have just a vacant lot with God knows what's going on in it. I don't think that's the right way to handle this. The other point is, if now we're gonna get a new proposal about what they want to do or what they're willing to pay for, I would respectfully request that we be copied on it and not have to file a FOIA request for it. And that we don't get any more phony documents supporting it, that we see real things. I think that we're entitled to that. We've come here respectfully every time, and we shouldn't have to fight to find out what's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Gracie. Okay, Ms. Baumann?
And I just want to know what the procedure is for your decision making.
Well, I think that what we were looking at also was, there were a couple of things that were on the list that was going to, so the flora and fauna, and then there was the
impact.
impact.
It's the water quality impacts in Laurel Brook.
Correct.
Mr.
Correct.
Chairman.
So we're gonna reach out to Labella in terms of letting them know to do that as well.
Yes, can I make
No,
a
no,
request?
please, please, yes.
Is it possible for the board to request, to the extent that it's feasible, Labella have the information for the October meeting? We've been having a hard time getting Labella coordinated. I'm not pointing fingers, but can we, is that, can the board make that request?
I think best efforts, absolutely, to get that done.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Coordinate that.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
All right. So,
Yeah, so can I just understand what the request is and then what the procedure is?
sure, so I think that we're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Blanchard, that flora and fauna and well, listen, you have it in front of you.
Impact to the brook.
Right.
So this
That
is
that was
phase,
something that-
phase 2 and phase 5 of the proposal.
Right, okay, so.
2 and 5, that's all you're willing to do?
So that was going to be expedited, and you were going to have that, so we would have that, so that they would do that
Correct.
right away.
That's what
Well,
we're
I mean,
requesting.
yes, so
Yeah.
we're requesting that. Okay. All right,
So
and then we're going to ask for the documentation from the building department that's in the portal in regards to the demo. Showing, hazardous material, whatever, that, that's signed off, and you got the demo permit for that.
Correct, that's
Correct.
phase 3. We'll get that and submit it back
And
into your
submit
planning department.
Okay, and then the bedrock in terms of, we were talking about that falling under the codes, the building department's codes, regulations,
Correct.
city, and county, state. And I think that was gonna be discussed as well, that,
Correct.
Okay,
Yep, we'll work with the planning department. I'd like the building department to provide you with an opinion related to the bedrock issue, and the engineering to provide their opinion, or I'm saying opinion, it might not be an opinion letter, but they'll provide their procedures or the requirements for the water usage and wastewater impact.
Right.
They issue basically like we used to call it in Yonkers a will serve letter. They confirm their calculations on the water usage. That's engineering, and the building department will clarify the bedrock issue. If we can prove to this board that those are covered under your code, then our request is that we remove them from this proposal. Because then it would be an exercise in redundancy.
Right. All right, I understand. Yeah. Okay.
I don't.
Hold on.
No, you said you understand. I don't. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to find out from the board.
Yeah.
You could certainly say.
No, I don't, I'm not really clear on what the proposal. Oh, sorry.
It's
So-
for,
so the-
it's for the list that we've just talking, that Mr. Blanchard was just talking about, coordinating with, Mr. Herbert, from the planning, department, Assistant Commissioner Herbert, and Labella, in terms of going over the that report and talking about, there are a couple of things, and I don't, they were phase. We're talking about what's the phase for flora and fauna?
Well, that's phase 2, and then phase 5 deals with the impacts to Laurel Brook.
And then we were talking about getting the report back from the building department in regards to the demo. And talking about the bedrock falling under code specific to the city, county and state. I think that was, and kind of. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. That was pretty much it.
So effectively, you're gonna go back to Labella and ask them to reduce their contract from 23,750 to 5,700.
Well, it's not the dollar amount. It's talking about what work needed to be done.
Right, but I'm
So
just,
so we were saying, again, there are certain things that we need in the event that come back with the building and we're not furnished with that information. That, you know, that the building department signed off on the demo permit and the hazardous materials, then that would be added back. But if they in fact have that, then that would be something that would be removed.
okay, so procedurally, again, in terms of notice to us, how does that work?
Well, I mean,
Is it the
we're
next
not,
meeting?
it's a communication that's gonna take place between the attorney for the applicant, planning staff, and the consultant.
And the bill.
Okay, and then once that information, once that is, you know, kind of gone over, you know, I guess at that point, we'll know. What I would say is, you know, check, and we could ask Ms. Pace over there to make sure that she has your information, okay? And we'll let you know when we have the information back from them.
But nothing's being decision today.
I understand.
Okay.
Can I respectfully request, since Mr. DiMatteo seems to be happy to pay Mr. Blanchard to come here, that he take the time now to write a letter to the board, copying us, telling us exactly what it is that he thinks they have to do.
Well, I think better, we'll have, you know, council communicate with planning staff. Okay, and I mean, that really is a.
Well, can I ask Mr. Blanchard if he would mind copying us?
I'm not paying some little slip.
So he.
What is it?
He will
I'll
send it-
submit to the city like everyone does. I'm not
Right.
sending.
Oh, and then we'll have to
million
file
letters.
it for him?
Send a million.
You know the portal request. It's part of the application. You can go on the city portal and it's right there for you.
No, we were told we had to do
No,
a.
your
FOIA
letter
request.
wasn't,
You don't have to do a
your
FOIA
letter
request.
Well, that's
wasn't.
what we,
Create an account.
that's what we were told.
Okay. So what we will do, okay, but wait, okay, what we're gonna say is that what Mr. Blanchard was just indicating about something, we will make sure and check to make sure that it is in fact uploaded so that you have that in, so you can see it. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it would be even more fair if you would just send us a.
I'm talking fair in terms of being able to see from the communication, so. Yes, I'm sorry. If you'd like to speak again, I'll be happy to have you come back up, but not there.
Almost like the
Just a second. Yes, as soon as he sits
I'm
down.
not gonna send a letter to.
I mean,
everyone in the room.
Blanchard, I'm just telling you the experience we had, as we were told, that you wrote a letter, we were told we had to get it with a FOIA request.
I'm
And if
not.
you're sending a letter to him, all you have to do is copy me. One person, you don't send a million letters, I'm just.
I'm saying, there's, wait, Mr., okay. Okay, it's going to go to the city, okay? And the city will put it where it needs to, so you're gonna communicate with the city, okay? And say, hey, I'm not seeing it there, it needs to go in the portal, I understand that it was being sent to you, okay? So you'll be able to, you know, no one's
Okay,
trying
we had a prior
no one's
experience where
trying
we-
to hide anything,
Okay, we were told previously that we had to do a FOIA request and we did.
okay?
So we had to do a FOIA request to get his letter.
You know, I, listen, and I don't disagree, because I've been told that I have to get a FOIA request when I want to pull the file and do certain things also, so.
No, but now you're telling me we don't, that it'll be on the portal and we can see it.
Right,
Okay.
but now we're saying, okay, Mr. Blanchard said he's going to send it, so we're going to check with staff. Okay, to make sure, I'm gonna, once I find out that it's there, I'm gonna say, hey, can you please make sure that it's visible so that everyone can see? I don't want anybody to say that.
Right. Right, so now we.
Hold on. For a point of clarification, I don't want to be accused of nefarious actions in October.
I access all the materials because I'm an applicant. I have a special status. My understanding is that you are also able to create an account as a citizen. So that's what.
In open gov, yes, absolutely, you can create,
If it's not to be the case.
That is the case.
No.
That is the case. In open gov, you can create an account.
Right.
So that you can do that, yes.
So,
And if for some reason there's any difficulty, please contact staff,
I will,
okay? And they will walk you through it and make sure that your account is set up properly.
right. So now the next question is.
Yeah.
When you make your decision, is that gonna be done at an open hearing? Is it gonna be-
Everything that is done, any decision, any vote, anything is open.
Okay,
It'll be noticed.
I got you.
It'll be on the sign. You'll
Okay.
know time and place.
Okay.
Okay, nothing, there is no decision that is made where the public is not present.
Is it available in advance of the meeting or only at the
You
meeting?
know, we don't know ahead of a meeting.
Okay.
You know, we
At
have
least
to, we
72
have to sit here.
At
Okay,
least
so-
72 hours.
72 hours.
Oh, I'm sorry, in terms of the posting of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes,
Yeah.
yes, okay, yes. And then our work session, which is that first Tuesday before the meeting on the Wednesday, this just happened to be, you know, the one time, very rare do we do a work session and the actual meeting. We have the work session the day before,
Right.
day proceeding, okay? And then it will be there, because we'll be going over the agenda, all right?
Thank
Okay, so when you see that sign that's posted, okay, I'm saying the day
No, I-
before, you can definitely log in and see everything that's
Okay.
there.
Only has to do is look
Okay.
at his.
Look at my window.
See the sign.
No, I'm talking about the date. I'm talking about the date, okay.
Well, I want to thank the planning board for your attention. It's a long meeting.
No,
We know you're taking, we know you're taking it seriously and we appreciate it.
No,
Thank
thank you,
Thank you all.
thank you.
One final open item.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, earlier it had, I think it would have been mentioned there was some confusion. Whether or not the staff was gonna ask council, your council, city council, to look into this issue of the determination, the unlisted versus the type 2. I want to make clear on the record, I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking you to withdraw your determination that it's unlisted. My letter created confusion, that's my fault, I apologize. I was making a comparison that the type 2 was relevant. I'm conceding as a point of law. Properly, it's as a subdivision, it's not type 2. 1 single-family home could be type 2, right? So we don't have to, let's close that item on the record. I think we can, if I'm telling you, I'm not asking you for that, I think we can put that issue to bed.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. No,
I
Thank
just
you.
want to direct our resources where they all have to, where they
No,
can.
I greatly appreciate it. So, I just want to let everyone know the next date for the meeting is going to be
October 7th.
October 8th.
October 8th, I believe, right?
Okay, October 8th, which means the work session will be October 7th. Okay, but before we adjourn, please come up, Ms. Hammond. Yes.
So the, Bell, is that his name?
Well, they have to communicate with them and hopefully that Labella,
You see that before the.
Public record.
yeah, that'll be public, right? So, yeah.
The,
So the hopes are, because we would like to be able to have that information for you, so we can go over that. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that we adjourn. Second. Okay, we got a motion to adjourn, got a second, all in favor? Okay. Okay.
We say October 7th or 8th?
Both.
7th and
Second.
8th. Okay. That's okay. Council made me a little nervous. I was like, oh my gosh. That's okay, Council, that's okay. No.
Like what? Hold on, we've got one more thing, we have to adjourn. Hold on. I don't want to talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't fix it. Alright, I got a motion to like go
I don't like.
adjourn to the next meeting. We didn't, wait, okay. All right. We have to adjourn. Yeah, so don't go anywhere. Elaine, Frank, what is that? Wait, okay. All right, everybody. Hello, Elaine. All right. The previous motion was to adjourn the application to the next meeting. Now I'm making a motion to adjourn for the evening